remember. Some of them I don't remember.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we'll talk about it. And we are, we're not live, but James Pasion, welcome to the show,
awesome.
bro.
I'm really honored to be here. And, like I said, I only saw the photo op wall here.
The photo op wall, the
which
bar.
is, I'll say, is quite iconic because I've just seen many of the pictures that come and like, wow, I've never seen this place in person. And when I walked in, like everything just all clicked. And
It's like you've been here before then.
It's like I've been here before. Yeah, it's that. I don't know. It's interesting. I love it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
honored.
I mean, ever since I first met you, or actually ever since, because I saw you present before I met you.
Yes.
And I was just thinking, I was like, holy shit, I got to get this guy on the show.
Wow.
Just your energy,
Yeah.
your preparedness about it, and just the presentation that you put on.
I'd love to go through it with you. If that's what you wanted to
yeah,
do.
for sure. If you don't know what we're talking about, and if you didn't attend Inspire Guam last year, it was around August, September.
Ish. I think it was even July.
Sorry, Vic.
Shout out to Vic.
Yeah. Vic Calvo is the mastermind behind
Right.
Inspire Guam, and my experience was as a speaker was amazing.
Yeah.
I had such a great time meeting people and even presenting, like talking about the podcast, bro. I never talk about the podcast. I mean, unless we're having
It's
some
so
drinks
meta. Yeah, it was
somewhere.
so meta of you to hear you talk about your podcast.
Yeah,
man.
and it was and then you came on, and I was just like, who the fuck is this guy? Matt, if you were there, it was nothing less than inspiring.
Wow, I'm
for sure, dude.
amazed that you're even saying that. I didn't know what was going to come out of my presentation. I had 10 minutes. I didn't realize I only had 10 minutes to speak until I saw the schedule, because apparently Vic has this idea of sending out the schedule on the date.
Yeah.
For excitement. And it
Keep you
worked
on your toes.
because now like, whoa.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
was that the cause of the high energy of your
I
presentation?
wouldn't say, because I've been presenting for a long time. Like, it's sort of started in UOG, the SBPA. What class was that when I first really started talking? 240 with Dr. Santos.
Okay.
Right, that was when I started.
Is that the
presenting.
dean?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
dean of School of
Okay.
Business and Public Administration right now, 2019, as of.
And
yeah,
when was
so-
this? How long ago was this?
Oh, this was 2008, 7. This is when I started college.
Yeah, okay.
And I think, now I'm backtracking. It was a public speaking class, or it must have been CO 210 or something, where we were given the chance to speak for our classmates, and I was just stuttering, and I'm like, I don't want to be this person that just gets shy talking.
Yeah.
And so I think around that time, I've also been watching like a lot of Steve Jobs keynotes, talking about the iPhone 2007 and stuff like that. And I just watched all of it, and I'm like, wow, this is a great way to just, communicate. The slides are kind of advancing as he's talking about certain things. And I felt that was sort of reminiscent of video and how people are engaged with video. So I wanted to kind of marry that together and kind of create an impromptu kind of way of people to engage with my slides. So as you probably could tell, when I was presenting, I wasn't even looking at my slides.
You weren't. It was
But-
extreme, and he didn't even have a monitor.
Yeah,
that you can even,
we
like,
were
like in
supposed to have
front.
a monitor. So I was hoping to have that, but like, I don't know, when when I present, for example, it just syncs. It's like you get in the zone in the same way that you have the podcast.
I mean,
sort of in the
less structured. I mean, I feel like you had a goal in mind with your presentation, and just the way you hit certain points
Right.
with your slides going along with the words that's coming out of your mouth.
Is
that's
that
not
what
an
you
easy
experience? Because it's
yeah.
different from my point of view. Because from your point of view and the audience, like they're getting to enjoy, I guess, what's happening, because the slides change and I'm talking as it changes. For me, I don't know if it's actually changing.
Yeah, and
right?
you're
So
like boom, boom,
I'm
boom,
having
right,
to
and then
trust
picture,
this
picture.
clicker that I've invested. It's 7 years now. Or how many years have I had that clicker? Since 2007 or 2007?
Yeah, in my head, I was like, is this guy counting clicks? I mean, is he like based off of like, does he know like how many clicks he's getting through each slide?
No, I know
that he's hitting it right on cue.
Yeah, definitely. So that's practice. But the clicker has a left and right button. So that right button's always been pressed. And at some point,
It's already soft, right?
yeah, it's soft. So it's 10 years now.
You have a good right clicking thumb.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know where that's going. But But yes, so I do click that very fast. So if you really look at my slideshows, it spans like 100 plus slides. Like it's not
Yeah.
10 or 15.
Yeah.
Like I have a slide for
It's definitely
every.
not. It's not reader slides either.
It isn't. It's I don't. You're not supposed, or I'm not supposed to read it. Like
Right.
the audience is supposed to like connect it. You know, like there's stuff that it's on the slide that I won't even say. Like there were people that were kind of commenting that my humor was subtle.
It
And
was.
I can sense what that was talking about. Because, for example, I showed the picture of my office, right, which was Dose Fruity in Tamuning before it turned into the Hive, right?
Okay.
I would always work out of there in the second floor. And so I had this placard that said office on it. And so I showed that as a picture in front of a gorilla mug, which was doing this. And that was supposed to be the center focus of the humor.
Yeah.
But people were laughing at the office.
At the
placard.
office, at your little placard.
Because I was saying this is my office, and you know there's an office there, so it's quite literal. Like, but it's not because it's an ice cream parlor, right? So I don't know. So that stuff, it's not like I'm doing that on purpose. It's just like it's part of who I am, I guess. As like not trying to. Be
When did you
funny.
realize it's now your presentation is almost like a performance?
Oh wow!
You know?
I mean, that's like I think that's the first time you really have that clicked right now, because it's not really a performance for me. It's just me trying to communicate.
But it almost feels like one. Just the way. Just I mean, not like performance.
Oh
as
yeah,
it's
not like
fake.
I'm trying to. Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's you
It's-
really know
it's
how
an
to
art
entertain.
form.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
you
would
know?
you say it is? Because I'm still trying to, I guess wrestle internally about what it is actually.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm just doing a presentation, a business presentation, but I'm not trying to make people do like the boring sleep thing. Because
Right.
I've been on those presentations where it's
Yeah,
an hour long.
Death by PowerPoint.
Death by PowerPoint is what it's called. So I didn't want to do any of that. I didn't want to give people a chance to look down, because I wanted people to feel like they're going to miss out if they look down, right?
Right.
And the slides
And you hit
advancing.
that right on the fucking head.
Yeah, so if people laugh and you're not paying attention, like, what did I miss? And
Yeah.
you don't want to do it again. So it's all of that came together, I guess, in that presentation.
Yeah.
So
When did things start to click for you? I guess so to speak. Right.
I like the word
Yeah.
wordplay there. Click. When did things start to click? When I was doing it this way?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you started figuring out that you can apply a certain style to presentations, because it's not something that
doesn't
everybody's good at. Dude, Matt, you literally have to see this guy do a presentation.
The way
it's
you
not
say
boring,
it,
dude.
make it sounds like it. This is,
I thought it's the greatest presentation I've ever seen.
Wow. That's an accolade I didn't know.
Dude, I mean, and I've seen many presentations, I mean,
Yeah,
like you said, death by PowerPoint since college,
yeah.
and still up to now at my work, people are
Right.
reading
So-
off their slides. I'm like, dude,
so
did you not
that's-
prepare for this?
So feedback I got after that presentation was more like, I want to know how to speak like that, right? And it was weird because I'm already coming up with an online course to kind of teach people how to at least assemble slides in the way I do, so that it doesn't become, again, a death by PowerPoint.
Yeah, is
situation.
this like tailored off of someone else that you've
I
like
mentioned
seen?
Steve Jobs.
Okay.
So that's definitely a big influence. So I've even heard people say I'm like the Guam Steve Jobs. Like I don't know, I forget who said it, but it's because I was presenting at the business building a lot.
Okay.
And my favorite place to present was the lecture hall of the School of Business. It's
Okay.
the tiered room.
Okay.
And I think someone remarked afterwards that comment, and I was like, no, please don't relate me to him, because that's like too far of a gap. I don't want to be even labeled that, because I was just trying to communicate an idea in a way that I felt would click with people.
Right.
And to this day, there are people who, from that same presentation, that still remember me and say, I remember you from your presentation.
Dude, yeah. I mean, literally.
And
That's
you're
all
a
it.
testament, I guess,
Yeah.
to that.
It's
I
and
didn't know it was because of just the way maybe
it's not. If you look at all the other people who presented, including myself, or spoke,
no, you
it
had
stood out.
elements of it.
I mean, I know, but it stood out.
Yeah.
It stood out. It made people pay attention at 2:00 in the afternoon when everyone's tired as
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
from being there all morning.
Wow, that's
know?
because it's different from my point of view, like I
Right.
mentioned. But I'm glad to hear that. That's sort of me trying to say that there's a different way to present. It just doesn't have to be bullet point and read it all, then bullet point, read it all. So
Yeah, I have a story in college.
for it.
We had a group presentation on the auto industry,
Mhm.
and me, I hate presenting. Like that's not my shit. You
Really?
know, I was even surprised I was even pulled that off
Oh,
last
yeah,
year.
you did a great job.
Thank you, and so I think the podcast has helped. You know, with
Yes.
that as
Yeah,
far as like
confidence level.
yeah, right, because you need some sort of confidence to even stand on a stage and have eyes looking at you, eyeballs,
yeah.
like some not even blinking. You know?
Those are the worst. You don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, like
And
shit, does my shit suck? But anyways,
uh,
I was in college and we were doing a presentation and I had written my speech, what I was
Oh.
gonna say,
yeah.
and I tried to memorize it word for word.
Oh, that's when.
And then I did it, and then I put on the slides just keynotes, you know, just
One
3
point.
bullets, couple words
Yeah.
on each bullet, and I got to one bullet, and this is what I did.
You froze.
Silence, dead silence. I looked at my partner. He goes, he shrugged
Well-
his shoulders. And he's like, I don't even know what you're presenting on, or I don't even know what you're presenting
the
on.
thing is, like, that's why I think I even went more into the way I present now, because I did have that same situation happen in
Like
the class.
bomb.
Yeah, I tried to memorize because I didn't know better. Because I thought memorization is the way to like, complete a speech.
Yeah.
But your mind will try to remember some word that's not there, and it can't remember it, then it's gonna pause.
Right.
Like couldn't remember the word the after a word, and then I just froze for I think it felt like 2 minutes, but it was actually 10 seconds, and then my group partner filled in, and I'm like, good.
God, at least he filled in, because mine just looked at me and I looked at him. I was like, and I just started sweating.
Well, the thing is, it
Like
was
bullets, dude, falling off my face. I was like, oh.
even for a grade.
Yeah.
Because that's for a grade. Like, I don't know if we were gonna flunk if I just stayed there for the next 10 minutes not saying anything.
All I said was next slide. I was like, next slide.
Oh, and that too, because I did, that's why I bought the clicker, because poor person that has to say next slide and is just pressing the button over and over again.
Yeah.
So I wanted to remove that and just have the clicker. And to be honest, that clicker has been around with me for, did I say 10 years? Yeah, it's about 10 years, because the way the year this podcast ends, this airs, it'll probably be
10 years.
and then I can't. I have to make this as timeless, I guess, as a resource as possible.
Well, you can throw a reference date out there too.
Yeah, this is 2019. now. I can't even imagine who else would be listening to this in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Hopefully me.
Yeah,
I told
yeah.
myself with this podcast, it's a dream of mine to be old and listen to my thought process when
Yeah.
I was 30 and just cringe at
And I
every
think-
single moment.
yeah, I mentioned what I just said, but it's more like I want you to kind of even bring this more out there.
Yeah.
Like you have this on iTunes, I'm sure, and SoundCloud and all of that. But I want someone, in the States to eventually hear this and like,
I don't think I'm on
this-
SoundCloud.
Are you
Yeah.
on SoundCloud.
Yeah. I it's nice, that's the thing, as being like independent media
Mm-hmm.
and trying to find your own reach.
Right.
It's nice to see when people who don't live here are listening.
Yeah.
When a percentage of my listeners like tune in from thousands of miles away,
Yeah.
and that's the coolest thing.
No, yeah, I mean, I dig it because, a dream of mine is for others here to put their content out there, and people recognize and they don't realize you're from Guam, and then they find out and like, oh shoot, it didn't matter where you were from. You can still produce quality content from anywhere you are. in the
Right.
world,
And I always bring up Pete Kimbao. I don't know if you know him, but
Yeah.
minimum value product.
Right.
You don't need the most
MVP.
most expensive gear to make
Mhm.
shit happen or even have
Yeah.
quality stuff.
You got the passion, you got the grit, and you're ready to go, really.
Yeah, I believe there was a guy a few years ago who actually shot a movie on his iPhone here. I think
Wow.
his name's Kyle.
Wow. I mean,
I forget his last name. Oh, my goodness.
again, it's a testament to like the resources you have now. It doesn't need to be this super high production value camera.
Yeah.
An iPhone does just well now.
Yeah, sometimes when people walk in, they're like, oh, my goodness, what the hell? And I was like, remember, I've been doing this for 4 years. It's like,
Yeah.
it's
You
been-
forget, like, I think day one was...
Day one.
what was day one?
Day one was actually this month is 4 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, so 4 years ago, started recording. The first podcast I ever recorded was at the beach with Josh Heinrichs and Skillenjaw. It's actually episode 2
Wow.
because the pilot episode we recorded like a week or two after that over at my friend's house in his garage.
Oh, so you didn't have this place?
I didn't have this place. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, when you first came out with the podcast, I was listening, you know, starting, I think, episode 5. And I don't remember who was on it. But you had you had more people.
Yeah.
And I think I even went to school with one of the people you were involved with. I don't like, it's like, I went to Father Duenas.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Skro was a part of it for a little bit. Anthony Villena. He still puts his nice input in. I love you, T-Ville.
Shout
Yeah.
out. I meant class of
I barely do.
2004 because I think I said class
Bo
of 2000.
Santos, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris Santos, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one who is responsible for saying, all right, let's just, what are we waiting for now? Because I kept telling him, I was like, dude, I want to just do this. I want to do this. 10 months, bro. 10 months I sat in all this shit. Well, less than all the shit. All the shit that I bought sat in a box for 10 months.
10 months just waiting.
Just waiting to be used.
Wow.
And it was, I lacked confidence.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what was it?
It was confidence. It was fear of exposure, fear of,
Putting yourself out
judgment,
there.
putting
Yeah,
myself out there,
Right.
you know. And with music, it felt different because I use music to express myself rather than talking to people.
Oh.
Yeah. So for me
difference.
to be doing podcasts was like left field for me. It's like, I'm really going to do this.
I mean, it's so hard to imagine now. You're doing such a great job.
Thank you,
It's
man.
like,
Yeah, I mean, and Bo helped me, help push. TiVo and Bo were very integral in the beginning stages of the podcast, and as far as like the tech side, and then just saying, dude, fuck it, I'll sit down with you, let's do this, right? And then he sat for a few episodes, and then I just kind of like
took it off.
Yeah, just went with it, and
Right.
and 4 years later we're here.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's cool to have seen it grow.
Yeah.
And
to see it grow firsthand,
Right.
mind you, like this is.
I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. There's times when I'm like, should I just do this? Should I keep doing this? And I've mentioned in previous episodes, I believe it was July of 2017. I almost completely stopped doing it.
Wow.
I didn't do a podcast for over a month, and I was like,
You just
all
took a
right.
break.
Yeah, and then
Took a break.
I don't know what it was. Maybe I was going through some shit. I don't even know.
I mean, it's natural.
And
again, burnout maybe happened.
right.
And you just needed that space to kind of re-energize.
Right. And it wasn't until Jared Pastones from The Native, he hit me up. He's like, hey, you want to do a live podcast at the fashion trade show?
Wow.
And that was like what sparked it up again, And and I was like, shit, okay, well, I'm gonna keep doing this then.
Yeah.
Right?
By a long shot, we're all here for each other. I don't kind of feel that. It's just like we're all doing our own things, but when it's time to kind of re-energize, I don't know, it sort of comes out of left field that someone say, hey, what's going on? You need some help kind of thing. And
Right.
I felt that was a pattern in my life, for example. And I think that's why I'm still doing what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of things, actually, but it's just, it took others to say, like, why aren't you doing as much as I thought you were doing?
Yeah, and it helps.
Accountability.
It helps when people, like who have either been on the show or listened to the show say they enjoy it. They enjoy the experience of being on the show, or even just the experience of listening to the show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Me, it's just like I just enjoy doing this, and I hope you enjoy listening to me.
I mean, I enjoyed
doing this.
the last episode. Last episode I listened to was with Ben.
Yeah.
Schiff. And I think there was a thing where I was already in my mind saying, it's like, man, his last name sounds a lot like Schiff. And then all of a sudden he says it, I think, towards the end.
It's German.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm like, oh, yeah, there he goes. So, again, sometimes the universe does weird things like that, and it just makes me chuckle a little bit. Like,
yeah, dude. And,
how interesting it is.
I really love how now today there's a lot of podcasts. People are stepping out of their comfort zones and wanting to do their own podcasts. And I don't want to be the only podcaster.
Yeah.
Who wants to be the only one of something?
Yeah.
Maybe
Wait,
a medical,
sure, a
maybe a
pioneer.
medical examiner. But
Wow.
but
Did you find someone already?
no, I don't think so. Yeah, but it's everything needs a community,
Right.
And you need other people to engage in something that you enjoy doing to grow the community. Yeah.
Right. We're in all our different spaces, like Vic would inspire you with the podcast and countless others. We're all trying to eventually lift Guam up to a different paradigm.
Yeah.
I think that's the best word to use. Paradigm shift or renaissance. I don't know.
Right. I
those-
mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. The Renaissance has been happening for what, 5 years,
Yeah.
6 years?
Yeah, but there needs to be that tipping point where it's like we're going all the way. You know, we're not just kind of thinking, look, or doubting ourselves that we may not be able to do this. And it's more like that we can. It's just we need the resources that, like, I feel need to come together. Like, for example, just maybe even doing TED Talks or more TED Talks on Guam, you know.
Right.
So stuff like that, just personal development.
But does it have to be TED Talks? That's
No,
this
it's just an
this
example.
is what I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's just what I'm wondering is, you know, it's easy to scale
Mhm.
whatever's in the United States, or take whatever's in the U.S. that's working and scale it down and make it work here.
Right.
You know, but is that something that we constantly want to do? Or
Or you want to try something that's, you know, germane to Guam and
Right.
then bringing it.
right?
Yeah.
So that we're creating our own sort of regional.
Yeah, yeah. And I mentioned TED Talk as
Identity,
just
right?
a way of exchanging the idea correctly. Because
Yeah.
I would just say, if I just said,
Well, Inspire Guam's a good.
oh, okay, there we go.
Right,
Inspire
there you
Guam, yeah. So stuff like that just plants knowledge in people's minds that eventually they'll act on. Because I've had it where we go conferences and then we get this high after, like we're ready to do anything.
Yeah.
And then a week passes and it fades because, you know, you're not really taking action. And it takes another year for that event to happen to get fired up again,
Right.
only to have it fade again because of the week. So I felt maybe even like a cadence of quarterly talks, for example, just to keep the rhythm going. Just so eventually out of that, like more action will be taken. Because for me, the action's ready to happen. It's just sometimes like the resources aren't around, or again, self-doubt happens. So it spans the gamut of why it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I felt a foundation in that is just having people exposed to some of the knowledge that may or may not be helping them pursue their dreams, for example, right? And that's like altruistic way of saying it. But I just say put the content out there in a way people can absorb, and then see what happens from there. It's the foundation is really knowledge, I would say. And
Agreed.
yeah, personal development is my mainstay, and that's what enables me to do things like talk in front of a mic and not really be, or even in public, right?
Right.
Stuff like that. I think it all stems from me just wanting to, like self-discovery, personal growth, all of that.
Yeah. Self-awareness.
Yeah, and just wanting to know like how life works. Like, for example, I would always say, like, if life had a manual, what would it say inside? You know, like chapter 2, what would it be? Chapter 1 and stuff. And that's how I was thinking. Like,
I
how
definitely
should
wouldn't. I wouldn't want to live my life by a manual.
Wouldn't you? Yeah, because it kind of constrains you, right?
Yeah.
But it's more like a guideline. Like, this is sort of how things are structured. Do you want to kind of see how it plays in your life, kind of thing?
I see.
Yeah, like you know, like emotions, emotional intelligence, right? Like just
Right.
knowing how that works out.
I
How
think
it
that comes
play
from experience, though.
Yeah,
Right. If you take yourself out of situations, yeah, dangerous situations, of course, but situations that you know maybe will go south,
mm-hmm.
you know, but it'll be a good experience to know that you should never go that route again, right?
Right.
Or yeah, you should go that route because you learn something about yourself. I really like those quotes. We're in a meme and inspirational quote generation right now.
Yeah, you'll scroll by and you'll always see them. It's either from Uplifted Life or what else is there. There's countless others.
Philosophy
There.
people. I don't know. I'm just making some shit up.
Yeah, I'm sure that comes out. Just go to Pinterest. I think they're all there.
Self-love.
Yeah, self-love is-
And it's important, right? Because we absorb a lot of information every day,
right.
right? And it's really up to us now of, okay, how much information do you really want to absorb?
Yeah.
Right?
Now sort of like channeling which ones you like and not like, and kind of just dealing with just like a miniature set of what you're already seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel it there. For
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
like it's more or less just like trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, and then the content that would help support that. Like, for example, if you're trying to be that successful entrepreneur, like you'll probably get resources that are in line with that. Like, I'm sure entrepreneur will equate to Gary Vaynerchuk every now and then,
Oh yeah.
just, you'll find the different outlets, or Simon Sinek, right? So those different content will come to you when you're trying to figure out.
Especially they make the
Okay.
algorithm work that way.
Yeah, it just seems it's like AI. I think it is AI.
Yeah, I think it is too. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's.
yeah.
I think they're gonna predict the way we can think.
Yeah.
I think it's Jack Ma,
that kind of,
Alibaba.
yeah. That,
He said that AI will overtake the human species unless we become more empathetic, we become more loving and caring,
you mean
because
more
these
human.
are more human,
Yeah.
because these are things that they'll be smarter than us in math,
Mhm.
in science, in calculations,
Right, and I can already see it. I mean, we already see that.
Yeah.
It's just, now you kind of really be core to ourselves being human, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Kinda got it that
I have a friend who was there. He was helping to design a room that was gonna hold a computer that can process at petabytes. Petabyte? Is it a petabyte?
That sounds
It's like 10 to the 16th
of data.
of data a second.
Oh, I was gonna say per second. Yeah, wow, and that's
Yeah, confirm what a petabyte is.
I remember the days where we were just trying to get data in our 1.44 floppy disk, and we were okay if we were able to use 2 disks,
Yeah.
to kind of what do they call it when you join the disks together, like not reformat, but you get the idea if you're from that time frame,
Right.
1986. There. Oh, revealing my age, but yes, so stuff like that, and how far we've gotten trying to petabytes per second.
Yeah. What's a
Unfathomable.
petabyte? Where we go? Where are we working with here?
Is a million gigabytes.
A million gigs a
Wow.
second.
Definitely plenty
Yeah, plenty. And
per
just
second.
yeah, just where we are right now. I think it's an amazing time for Guam. I'd always tell people, I was like, dude, you guys don't realize that we live in the best time in the history of Guam.
Amen.
Fuck
Yeah.
everything else that's going on around us.
Yeah.
In Guam alone,
Yeah.
just 400 years ago, we were wearing fucking sutties and
Yes.
pulling canoes, and I just found out the oldest university in the Philippines, or in Asia, is in the Philippines, and I believe it's University of Santo Tomas, and it was founded in the 1600s, 1600s, and I was thinking, I was like, 1600, shit,
Well,
we were
yeah.
here. This was like exile land,
Mhm.
The Spanish sent the Filipinos who were bad down here, and there was like, okay, you're gonna be exiled to this island, but they didn't realize that it was actually like a really good place to live.
Yeah. Looking back now, it's fun to kind of just look back. I mean, not even we weren't even alive back then, but you can kind of extrapolate how things were. And yes, it's a great time to be alive in this day and age, right? Just of advances in technology. Again, electricity was back then. That was the all rage. Now it's IT,
Right.
and who knows what the next wave will be. But I guess it'll be a merge of electricity and IT,
Right.
right? So it's only getting better from here, and you can only kind of guess that there is quite a bit of negativity, but I think it's just gonna offset in the long run, right? It's just, I guess, us getting our things out of the way work and seeing, like, do we really want this racism and stuff like this, or do we want to try something different this time?
But what I'm wondering, as as people who live here,
Mm-hmm.
how much do we let everything that's happening outside of here affect us societally, right?
Well, I'm of course not at all. I mean, you can observe it, but it's one of those things where you just observe it, but you don't let it consume you. Because if you do, it turns into like hatred and the negative energy.
I mean, which we do find here.
Yeah.
I mean, you still find racism here,
Right.
easily, and it's so easy for people to be racist towards other
And
races.
unfortunately, yeah, that is the case.
Right.
But the only antidote is, the opposite direction. You got to melt it with kindness.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a catchphrase already, but melt with kindness, because that's really the only way. There's only two spectrums.
Right.
the deepest part is like despair, and the other end is joy, and that's it. Like the only way to kind of go the opposite direction is to start like introducing the other elements, right?
Right.
So
It's just tough because there's just so much. Like I said, there's so much information coming in, and there's so much information like that we can give out, but it's not. It's not gonna be a bigger. It's not gonna be as big as an effect as what is gonna come in and how it'll affect the society and how we live here. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for gender equality. I'm all for, non-racist shit happening here.
yeah,
But
we are taking to the realistic point of view where it's happening at this point.
right, and so how do we still juggle societal issues, but also still be a product of people who want this place to succeed, right? And kind of tying it into an entrepreneurial sense or even like a business sense.
Yeah.
Right? Why do we still get excited for shit that's been in the United States forever?
Only now.
And then only now, and then we pack it up for a month, and then it's only catered to tourists.
Bro, yeah.
And it does nothing for us.
Right.
And not to shit on franchises, but that's just what it is. I'd rather see
homegrown
businesses here, and people are capable of it. Tommy's Pizza, for example.
I just mentioned you're right next.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Tommy has a real passion for it.
Yeah, he does. Tomas, but it's Tommy, Tomas, whatever. It's he started in the back kitchen, of his mom's house.
Right.
And now he has his business that people ran and rave about his pizza.
Yeah. And if you go inside, it's like an experience in itself.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're sitting on the GPA power.
What is it? Yeah, I was gonna say.
What is it? Those spools? There it is. There, the spool.
I was like, I don't know the word, but you got it.
He got it.
But the thing is, there are a lot of local businesses to be proud of. Some of them you even think are franchises, but they're not. Like Dulce Fruity is one. Jamaican Grill.
Right.
All these are homegrown, and some of them have tried to even become franchises off island and stuff. So it's that direction I want to support. Someone that starts a business here and is going to try to expand beyond Guam.
Right, and I feel like our intelligence and creativity is our export.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that should be, the next thing we kind of tackle, like people as, our talents like being expressed out to the world instead of just being contained in here. We should be proud that we have our talents to kind of put ourselves out there. Right. And a lot are already, just it takes more people to do that, just so it creates a consensus that, oh, wow, I can actually produce content that's worthy, I don't know, quote unquote, air quote, worthy of the outside world, I guess you can say. But it's that time now. It's not so much like be scared that your content's not going to be taken seriously. Sometimes people don't even care where you're from as long as you're providing value by entertainment or information.
Right.
And so that's some of the stuff I'm trying to do. Like, for example, me selling website templates. Like I have the Guam flag on my profile, but people don't mind. They're still saying my templates are helping them.
Right.
And this money that gets, people purchase the templates from other places, it comes to Guam. Couldn't you imagine if others are selling their creative work through these platforms, and then it comes in again as income? It's a different way of thinking. Instead of like local first, it's more like you're putting your stuff out there and people purchase it from different countries, and that money comes back to Guam in a way that circulates throughout the economy.
And in a way that it's never have before.
Yeah. And it's because I guess it's kind of a new way of thinking of it, because you don't really think of putting your work out there.
Mm-hmm.
You just think, I'm going to open the business, but I'm going to cater to Guam, right? But we do ship elsewhere, but our main target is Guam. But what if your main target was continental U.S.? Like maybe your products are great already, and you just want to sell it out there.
Yeah.
Like in the
Or
in the way
even Asia.
Yeah. So creative work example is a good idea. Like selling a template because maybe your client didn't go with the idea, but now you're going to sell that template on the internet and people purchase it. That money comes to your PayPal, you deposit in your bank, and you
Yeah.
go spend it on Tommy's Pizza, for example. Not
Right.
sponsored by Tommy's Pizza, but the idea is like you come bring that cash and you know spend it inside the local Tommy times how many people are here, right? So
Right.
that's enough to kind of create a system of bringing money in
Yeah.
and then circulating the economy and then just having a good time with it, you know. So that's some kind of concept trying to push out there anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's why I really like Stroguam. Shout out Stroguam, sponsor of the podcast.
Amit.
Yeah, and it's just exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the money is coming from elsewhere. You have tourists and military using it, and it's just flushing back in. It's recirculating.
Yeah.
The drivers are local. They live here. They spend all their money here,
Yeah.
and it's fueling economy.
Yeah. So the opposite was, of course, we would export or like we would buy products from elsewhere and it comes here. But now it's our products being sold out there.
So do you think there could be sort of like a balance between?
A balance.
I mean,
in the sense-
because it'll never come to a point where we're making our own gas.
Mhm.
Maybe food, maybe to an extent.
Mhm.
Maybe if we were trading with other islands, you know, getting meat from Tinian, getting bananas from Pohnpei,
Mhm.
getting strawberries from Japan, you know, a more open market style for us, then then whatever we grow here
will help us.
will help us.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be many imports, but do you think that there could be a point where what we're importing and what we're exporting sort of comes at an even playing field, or do you think there'll always be that
eventually,
offset?
yes, but I can't like testify to when like the time frame is.
Yeah, or even the products that will.
Yeah, the products that will come out of it. You can only tell so much right now. But, you know, I don't know. I liken to think of Singapore
Okay.
in the sense that it was a place that, wasn't really developed yet. And they took the time to develop. And in that kind of passion of developing their own place, like outside investors came in as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, that what became a catalyst for where it's now at in terms of, their stature in the world.
But that's not something that's ideal though, right? At least for us, because I mean, look at China now, right? China's going throughout the Pacific and Africa, buying out places.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not buying out places, building stuff for these people and treating them like royalty until they owe them, and then they own the island or the place.
It really does come down.
It's already happened in Africa, and I think a few Pacific islands already.
Mm-hmm.
That the one in Africa, I believe, is a utilities plant that they built.
So in the sense that they developed
the area in saying, just pay us back
eventually.
But when you can't, then it's ours.
Oh, sort of like in the same way that
Subtle warfare,
Yeah. I mean, I just say it as a blanket statement to see like there's something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a sense of taking some of that here in the same way that they did it? Not entirely, but bits and pieces of it, because we're just really trying to change up the atmosphere, I would say. Atmosphere might be the key word. Sort of this atmosphere of wanting to kind of pursue what you're wanting to do without like hesitation, right? Something like that. It all spans the gamut too, with the idea that, hey, some people are leaving their work now, like more so than ever, and they're pursuing, like for their food truck dreams, or they're pursuing something they wanted to try along.
Yeah, shout out to Raymond Doza, one of my friends.
Yeah, Long Doza.
Yeah.
That's what I was actually
he was
alluding to.
he was a teacher, and he quit his job. I think it was last year, and he picked up the truck. Yeah, within the last like 4 months, he's been doing the food truck.
Yeah,
and I talked to him the last time I saw him at the Opaque's grand opening, because he was there, and he's like, dude, I'm enjoying it. I love it.
Yeah, and I can feel it, in the food even. Yeah. So it's like that's the kind of story that's gonna happen more often, not now, because people are just starting to get kind of, the rat race is starting to become a little bit daunting to some people.
Yeah, have you seen Thursday Nights over here?
I have not.
over by the museum where they have all the food trucks kind of like
Oh yeah,
set
yeah,
up
I've been
there,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
they made their own sort of Chamorro village.
Yeah, yeah.
on a Thursday night.
I did attend one of them, and
Yeah.
it was great. I
Yeah.
mean, like I can only imagine that growing from there, and that's the kind of stuff that is built from the ground up.
Right. You know, and someone was telling me, who was telling me? Somebody was telling me that that's what the basis or the idea of what Chamorro Village was about,
Mhm.
was to allow these vendors to sort of start, base
Oh yes, I'm familiar
small,
with this.
and then grow up. And I think Jamaican Grill was one of those places that
That started.
started as a barbecue stand. And then they became Jamaican Grill, and
Yeah.
now they're in 3 locations.
Right.
Was that a
Was it
podcast?
Jamaican
Were you here?
Grill?
That wasn't here, right? No, right. I think it was a separate conversation I was having with somebody.
Yeah, but that's well. So I mean, I know Chamorro Village's purpose was to build on like incubator for small businesses.
Mhm.
Were you trying to get to the idea that they were eventually supposed to branch out or move on?
Yeah, I think
all
that's
of
what the idea was, but I think a lot of them just kind of like
them?
settled.
Yeah, I was just trying to. I was like, is that part of the plan? Like
Yeah.
just to stay forever? Because some of us, may want to use the space.
Yeah,
like-
that's what I was told. I was like you said, incubator, and then they were supposed to do their own thing. But I think
Yeah.
Jamaican Grill's the only one that sort of,
Yeah.
shameless plug for them. But
I love Jamaican.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I'll
But-
give it to them.
their food is so good. See, so that's what I mean.
This is not
local
sponsored by
stuff.
Jamaican Grill.
or any of the companies we've mentioned in this episode. It's just a lot of love for local stuff that's really growing.
Yeah. Did you ever live off island or anything?
Not at all. I
No?
mean, born and raised here. I just stayed here. I mean, there was a 3-year phase where I just went travel crazy,
Okay.
but I kind of ended that already. I'm kind of
Travel alone, travel with
Well,
other people.
all of the above.
Okay.
Sometimes alone.
Mhm.
Sometimes I travel alone and I meet some people that I know there.
Okay.
So it's a mix of different.
You ever gone on a full trip just by yourself?
No, because I would not be able to eat dinner by myself.
Why?
That's the thing. I can't eat like dinner in a family restaurant by myself. It's just this fear. I don't know what it's called. There's a word for it, but I'm not remembering at this point. But I can eat like dinner at those, for example, Coco Curry House.
Okay.
Like they have one person stalls.
Right.
Not to say I'm always eating alone. It's just more like I can't fathom always doing that. So I usually have people travel with me, not for that purpose of eating together, but it's better to travel with friends. To be
Yeah.
honest. Like,
We were talking about growth and self-discovery earlier, and that's
Yeah,
when we were talking about it. That for me, traveling alone is the biggest like growth you can go through,
Oh, yeah.
especially traveling to a foreign country where
Mhm.
you don't understand the language and you feel kind of lost,
yeah.
and you're kind of like,
That's the
what do
fun
I need to
part.
do?
I mean, there's pros and cons to solo travel. Pros is like for me, I love like getting lost in subway because I didn't have to worry if 500 people couldn't make it on the train because we all ran for it.
Right.
And I made it sometimes, and sometimes I couldn't, and I didn't have to worry about like, oh, we're gonna miss such
Right.
and such. So there's pros and cons, but when you're traveling with friends, the camaraderie is there. You
Right.
just love,
Different kind of growth.
yeah, you experience. And of course, there's the cons part where like the Airbnb just doesn't fit all of us, and we didn't know because the pictures are very deceiving sometimes. So again, the travel phase was fun, and I plan to continue that eventually.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm really just trying to get the businesses.
So you've been really involved in entrepreneurship for a long
What's-
time, or did you have a sort of a 9 to 5?
I never had a 9 to 5 ever. So that was one of the commitments I wanted to make coming out of college. It's just I felt if
What'd you get your degree in?
business admin.
Okay.
So after that, international business with the concentration. But it was more so I knew if I got that 2-week paycheck, I wouldn't be able to leave because I would get comfortable.
But you never left.
I wouldn't say I never left because this sole proprietor job thing it feels like a job. It's just you own your own job.
Okay.
But in terms of the 2-week paycheck, I just didn't want to get into that situation where I couldn't leave because I was comfortable with the next paycheck coming and stuff. So I just didn't do that. I just went straight to the business license area and got my
Mhm.
business license and started web design.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time, websites on Guam weren't too nice looking, and I felt I could contribute. But eventually,
So the market was nice and juicy
I mean,
for you to,
2000,
for the pickings.
2009. Again, you know how Guam sometimes can be a little behind on some things.
For sure.
Website wasn't up there in people's wish list yet.
Yeah.
Right now, back then, email address was all they really needed, and you
Mhm.
could see that because email was well over their bumper stickers along with their phone number, but never websites.
Right.
It's only around this time, 2018, 2019, that websites are, we get why we need them. And now people are asking, even though I haven't really been doing websites or don't really want to anymore,
Yeah.
because IT has, that took over, and it's just been, I loved IT just because it's, the solution to the problem, and you just apply the solution and you move on, right?
Yeah.
And it's not so much creative work. Creative work for me, I've always thought I could do, like designing logos and stuff, but over the few years that I was involved in that first business, I just
Seems like more
Yeah.
pressure to be a creative IT or like a creative person doing digital stuff. I was talking to John Bermudez, and he's incredible as
Right.
far as like the stuff that he puts out but also, it's like plenty hats. Not only do you have to run a business, but you have to be creative
yeah.
while you're running the business.
And it kind of stifles creativity sometimes.
Mm.
It's like for me, like the pressure, deadline pressure, didn't make ideas flow.
Uh-huh.
So I knew I had to get out of the space of like succumbing to clients' wishes. Like so now I just do web design if I want to on my own projects, not so much like paid work.
Right. It's
But-
like, here's some bonus work I can give you.
I've had that fair share in the beginning, and it's fun a little bit. It's just when it's the deadlines are the ones that kind of make you like, oh man, I wish I wasn't doing this right now. I wish I could go out.
Yeah, I feel like credibility is a huge thing as far as like starting out anything, whether it's creative work or business, or even just getting people to believe in you. It's like how did you sort of overcome that being a fresh out of college student and you deciding to open up your own business and do it your own way,
Right.
but also going against other places that have already established their credibility.
Yeah. It's interesting you say credibility because in the beginning I didn't even have what would resemble a credibility. I loved HTML. I remember MySpace and Zanga. I would edit the layouts and stuff, and that was my interest in coming into web design. And I didn't think that was credibility. It was more of like I just wanted to code more. And so what really ended up happening was referrals. Or I wouldn't say referrals. It's more like, hey, what do you do? And I say, I make websites. Like, oh, I have something I want a website for. And then it's not so much, can I see your portfolio? It's, oh, you make websites. I have a project for you.
Yeah.
And they didn't even look at the portfolio because I had none. It was more of, oh, I want to see what you got. And then I worked on projects, and then that built from there. And they would say, oh, I have someone else that would be interested in websites. So it's really like organic growth. It's not so much advertising. I didn't even advertise. It was just more meeting people and saying what I do, and somehow them saying, oh, I have something you can do.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like you broke the mold as far as the traditional thought of what you should do with life, right? I mean, I did it. I went to college, got the 2-week paycheck job, and then I tried to figure out, all right, music, podcasting, see what I would love to do.
Yeah.
But you broke the mold and sort of just like, and many people today are continuing to break the mold of not so traditional American dream sort of lifestyle, right?
That was something I set for myself since 2006, because 2006 I got really into personal development, and one of the things that came out
You're
of
around 20 this time.
when was I don't want to do math on podcast, but yes, 1986,
Yeah,
2019,
about
now,
20.
so-
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's sort of me thinking that's what I wanted to take this like differently. I didn't want to do a structured life. I just wanted to see what if I mix things up
yeah.
a bit. Like what if I just don't do the job thing ever, and I try to survive somehow. It worked out.
Yeah.
It's not like I didn't need to like get a job. It
Were
just
your
out.
parents pretty traditional?
pretty traditional in the sense that college.
What did they say to you?
mandatory.
Yeah.
No, the
Uh,
thing for them, it was just college, and that's it. After you finish college, then good.
I don't
Right.
care what you do.
And not in that very abrupt way, but more like it was like, okay, it's check mark. For me, going to college, it's not. It was for the people that were there. I love the people that were there, but
Yeah.
also the idea that my parents really like had that coming to Guam from the Philippines. They had that as a goal, like a dream. Like if their kids finish college,
Because that
that would be their
is
fulfillment.
that their idea of being successful.
I figured it was
Okay.
because there's that like joke that goes around that your parents will brag about like, oh, he was magna cum laude in school and stuff.
Right.
And my parents
He's
say,
a doctor.
yeah, and
He's a lawyer.
and for me, I wanted them to do that because I guess that was their end dream of coming from Philippines to here.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to deprive them of that, so I did it, and now they're doing that. But of course, like they'll say things like, "Oh, he's magna cum laude," and then, I worked hard for something else, and
Yeah.
they'll say magna, but it was actually the other one. Which now I think
Magna
magna sounds
sum?
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the other one doesn't sound too
Or summa, right?
summa cum
cum
laude.
laude?
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
sound too masculine. but- So I'm like, okay, as long as I finish college, mom and dad, I did it. So now at this point, I'm free to do whatever I guess I want. But the
Yeah.
idea is like,
But they still question your path.
it's
right?
not vocal.
Okay.
It's more like I guess, like implied.
Yeah,
Sometimes. But
yeah.
it's not like
I'm good.
they're-
I'm good. Yeah, I my parents are very traditional in that sense too. It's like college was a no option. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to college. I don't care
Like,
what
it's-
you
It's a
say.
non-negotiable.
Yeah, non-negotiable aspect of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then whatever you do after that, that's up to you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they're glad I stuck with engineering. For as long.
engineering.
I've been an engineer for about 8 years. I finally got my
Years is a long
PE.
time.
So yeah, man, just this past December. So
Celebration.
Yeah.
I'm sure you celebrated.
I did
Yeah.
for like 2 months.
Was that what that break was?
Yeah, that's what. That's what this last break was.
Oh,
Damn, this,
you're trying to figure.
yeah.
cover
I
up.
was trying to like snap out of it. I was like, oh shoot, I'm not on Christmas vacation, and I didn't just graduate from college. I mean, I still got to go to
It was
work
a worthy celebration.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those you kind of work for.
for sure, man. And I truly believe we do live in a society or in a world where college maybe isn't necessary.
Not anymore.
No,
as much
not
as it
anymore.
used to.
But it's a great fallback.
yeah,
you know?
safety net.
Yeah, it is a really incredible safety net.
Yeah, especially Yoji. The prices aren't that extraneous. So the idea
Yeah.
is like, Yoji used to be a place where no one wanted to go to school, but now it's like amazing place to go to school.
Right. And it's really nice to see that even people from the region,
Yeah.
are wanting to come to
Right.
Guam and get a continuing or further their education.
Mm-hmm.
And I just tweeted something. It's like, prepare yourself, and prepare yourself for the future and go get that education,
Right.
like some kind of education. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be what your parents say the education you need to get. Dude, if you're going to get an education in plumbing, go get some plumbing certifications.
It's funny you mention that because we all say college isn't as necessary, but the trade schools, different story because now people are trying to route like actual job things they can do to the workplace. Like, for example, like learning how, I guess, plumbing. I'm going to use the example of plumbing.
Right, okay.
Like
Like
going
a
to
skilled,
school
like
to
a
learn-
skilled job, right?
Yeah, and then they'll actually use it in the workplace, whereas you get a college degree like in stateside, and then here I am, take me, and then nothing's happening kind of thing.
Right.
So trade schools, I think, going in the future, I think will be a little more valuable,
Than
versus
traditional.
traditional. And it's
schooling.
tough to hear that because I'm just kind of feeling out how things are now.
Because we have teacher friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know it's their job's really important to them,
yeah.
right? But the aspect of what school is changing.
Yeah,
Just because.
Yeah.
world is changing.
Every industry is morphing before our eyes.
Right.
And nothing is really immune to it. So
Right.
it's not, I'm not saying it's gonna happen all the time. It's just you gotta be weary that sometimes, hey, the industry that you've felt was stable for so long,
Mm-hmm.
may kind of rumble a little bit,
Right.
make you uncomfortable. And
Right,
it's
and-
just about adjusting.
And when we think about schooling, is like the way they taught school and the way school was developed was for the industrial,
Manufacturing.
manufacturing, the industrial revolution. That's why they started teaching people how to obey rules. And
Yeah, the assembly
follow
line
assembly line.
mentality.
Right,
Now,
right.
not so much. It's more the creativity platform.
Right.
And the schools don't really adhere to that as much.
Yeah.
Maybe the charter schools, but like
That's
again,
why I'm really a big fan of charter schools.
Yeah.
Just because it's so non-traditional.
yeah, and they're learning stuff that I wanted to learn.
Right.
I mean, not so much
Like
robotics. I
robotics.
didn't even know that existed, but more like technology-oriented stuff. When I was going to school, we were playing Nanosaur on the iMac and like trying to code HTML because that was fun.
Oh, that definitely would have been right down your avenue.
That's where it started. Santa Barbara School, Santa Barbara Catholic School. Shout out to them because that's where my passion for technology, HTML, really started in that one room, the computer labs.
When with the single monitor.
Yeah,
Macs?
it was the colored Macs.
The colored
I don't know
Macs.
what you call it. It's translucent.
Yeah. Right.
See
Right.
inside them, it made
Yeah.
Macs look really, really cool.
The computer was inside the monitor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
could see what's going inside. It's like, oh, there are things blinging. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was so much fun. And it's still a thing today. Like technology is still here. It's not going away. So I teach at the University of Guam, just some classes like Excel and Access, and some of them are to the Manapku. And I love it because, I tell them in the beginning sometimes, like, technology is not going away. And it's just really about trying to get someone that's patient enough to teach you the ropes so you can apply it. And some of them were from the Department of Labor. And they were fun to teach because some of them, right-click was a hassle. Double-click was a hassle. And for me,
Which
double
how do I use my ring finger to click on this thing?
No, you have to like describe it and like it's that button on the right of the wheel. And
The right clicks on the right button.
yeah, it makes sense now, but it's just more like when you see them trying to they're trying to use their so much fun, yeah.
Putting on the glasses.
Yeah.
Ah, there it is.
No, the thing
There
with
it
me, with my classes, I actually go to them, so they were kind of surprised that I actually went over their shoulder and like, here's how you kind of do it, because they
Yeah.
were just used to just waiting, and then it's over, then they go break.
Right.
So some of my students were telling me how like excited they are to come to the next class because it's more about hands-on learning.
Interactive.
Yeah. Some of them just get a book and here you go.
Right.
I mean, reminiscent of my days in UG, sometimes you had to learn from the book because the classes were short.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Or
so-
shit.
Nonchalantly. Oh yeah. I mean, that's a testament to how it was. Accounting, for example. I loved bookkeeping, but I didn't like the other part of accounting, like forensic accounting and government accounting. I just like debiting and crediting cash and revenue.
Seeing
know,
numbers. Seeing the plus numbers.
Yeah, debit, cash, credit, revenue, and just whoa, my balance sheet or income statement is not bad.
Yeah.
It's like enough to just get by with getting taxes correct. Which, by the way, I still
It's coming up. Shit.
Ooh,
You said the
that-
word.
That tax man.
The
But,
two
you
things
know-
you can't avoid, right, in life: death and taxes.
Yeah. I was waiting for you to say it. April though, like I wait till April.
April 15th, right?
Yeah, 14th, just so I don't get covered with the line.
just give yourself a
I mean,
couple,
I don't
24
know.
more
Some
hours.
people, some tax experts will say like, why don't you just try to figure out how to lower your taxes? I don't know. For me, it's more like I want to give to because it just comes back to Guam anyway. It's not like going to IRS proper. It's
Yeah, I mean,
staying here.
and the thing about it
Rev and tax.
is that's something they don't teach us in schools, right? And we say all of us who grew up in sort of the 90s and the 2000s,
Mhm.
they didn't teach us how to do shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I
had to
like
learn
real
how
life, like real life shit.
like I had to learn how to write a check on my own.
Dude, I just learned how to do my taxes a couple years ago.
It's
you know?
it's actually fun if you follow the instructions correctly. You it's like a high. Like in the beginning, you're like, oh man, here's all my income, and then here comes the deductions. Oh, it's getting lower, and then all of a sudden the deductions. On
Shit,
the other
I
side.
still get help. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I still get help. I just see like, okay, this
You
is
shouldn't
what I
take-
spend, and this is okay. This is what I'm down
Yeah.
to give.
But like for example, receipts like thermal receipts from the gas station don't last, and sometimes you forget, and then you show the receipt and there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's like
my $20 purchase is now not even in Like, how do I prove it exists?
No proof.
Like, I'm showing a piece of paper, but it could pretty much be anything on it. So, like, thermal, it's hard to take pictures of your seats because like, sometimes you forget.
Right.
Like, I don't want to keep taking pictures of my gas purchase.
Yeah, and there's ways around it, right?
Yeah,
as far
debit
as
card, credit card.
with buying lunch all the time, you know.
Oh,
I buy lunch. I'll buy lunch.
Yeah.
But it's just little loopholes to get around, you know, with your deductions and stuff that you can get back, the money you can get back in the tax year, right?
Right. I mean,
And shit, secrets they don't even tell us, dude.
but there's a reason, like school is for manufacturing line, and we
Right.
don't really need to know about.
So how do you in you know the way you're
Perceptions.
looking at the world objectively, like how do you see education morphing, right?
I mean, one of the ways or one of the kind of routes that is going to be more prominent is the online learning platform. Like you'll see not so much Udemy and those sort of those platforms, but more like ideas of going online for information. Like, for example, if you want to learn how to change the oil of your car, like you used to learn it from dad, but now people just Google on YouTube.
Now you're
and
learning it from Jerry in Minnesota.
Yeah, like now you do, and you're just following the video. Like okay,
Yeah.
and then you drop the phone into the engine, and it's like okay, this isn't working. But at the same time, like you learn from a stranger who just doesn't even know you exist about how to change oil, right? So stuff like that, because it's just so readily available. Like you'll Google anything just to figure out if it's correct. Like fake news, like is this fake? Oh, it is fake. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, like
Did Adam Sandler really die?
yeah, like Jackie Chan died again. Let me just check. 8 times in a row.
It's fucking possible.
Like, and it's amazing because it gets shared, right? So that's how you find out. People will share it. I'm like, wait a minute, now
Yeah.
didn't you share this last year?
Yeah, I have a friend who started to he's a teacher and he's starting to incorporate social media into his classroom development.
Mm-hmm.
And because all the kids are on Instagram, he has a class Instagram account.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that work out? Like,
What
what do they post? Or
tests,
what is he?
quizzes,
Oh, so he's not
thing-
really using like the Moodle and stuff. He's just using Instagram too.
he's just using Instagram to sort of inform his students, keep
that's
very
very creative.
he said they're on it anyways. So
Yeah.
they might as well see the shit, that I've got to put up there.
Wow.
Right. So in my head, I was like, holy fuck, like that is
That's quite innovative.
it's very.
I never really
innovative.
thought to put a test on.
Well, not
okay,
not
not
putting
really
a test,
okay,
but
that's what I was
like
thinking.
reminders or reminder
like-
you have a quiz test tomorrow. This homework
okay,
due. And imagine a kid zombily scrolling through and they see the teachers.
I like how
the
you said
class profile.
zombily. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's really. Oh man, what was the last post I ended it?
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there
but
it
you
is.
forgot
I
an algorithm
Yeah,
now.
I caught up. I caught up to it.
That's
Twitter.
that's the way it used to be.
Yeah,
Like
Twitter.
in Facebook.
Twitter still isn't that chronological.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Well, it's somewhat changing, but like it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
Like Facebook.
Yeah, I
goodness.
just found out I'm addicted to Twitter.
I love Twitter.
I fucking.
You
love-
have more
I
intelligent
I
posters on
love
Twitter.
Twitter
Not
so
to
much,
mention-
dude. Yeah,
Like-
and now I'm starting to like post more on Twitter. And
Is it safe to say more Guam people than I think are on Twitter? Because
there are because
'cause-
there's a lot of people I don't interact with on Twitter.
yeah, because Facebook has its crowd, usually parents and grown-ups. But now
Yeah.
it like Twitter has like because the grown-ups won't go to Twitter, they don't understand how to do a hashtag
Right, just look at-
correctly.
Just look at a major media outlet
Mhm.
and just see the reaction, the engagement on Twitter compared to
Oh
Facebook.
yeah,
It's always the older generation that's going to engage, right? And then you get a few millennials here and there.
yeah, but
a
it's not
few
really
Gen
outright.
Yers. Yeah.
But like
Twitter, it's like one like, one heart, no comments, no retweets. And it's like
yeah.
it's a less of a reaction. It's like I don't give a shit about that. That's a millennial mindset or a Gen Z mindset, right?
Yeah, because they're scrolling through it and they're just looking for content that resonates with them, I guess.
Right.
Because I follow some people on Twitter. Not too many. I don't really use it as much as I used to, but it's more of, wow, this person is really expressing themselves on Twitter versus Facebook. It's like no one has seen them.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this person?
They're
off
getting
to?
the
like it's like
the notification
it's
like
the-
you haven't posted in a while.
yeah, it's curated. I get that every now and then. I'm like, hey, are you still part of our platform? Because like we want you to post because it's part of our business for people to see what you're posting.
Right.
And then it was like, no, thank you.
You're defeating the whole point of
Like-
being on our platform.
Like I've gotten over the on this day, on this year
Right.
thing, because like sometimes I cringe in the memory. I'm like,
Oh, fuck.
I didn't want to see this.
fucking wrote that.
Like, because like some people post for that reason. Like a year later, they get reminded of they went to like Disney Sea, right? And that's
Yeah.
a good memory. But sometimes all those memories, like, oh wow, I look terrible.
Yeah.
Or like
Or-
the posts you say are cringing. You know?
Yeah.
Or
It's like,
like,
oh shit, I was pretty depressed in that post. God,
Or-
gosh,
or like,
move
it's
on.
like-
I don't want to
like,
remember
what
that
was I
time.
saying? Like the words I was using were very depressing. Like, you know, like it's like when you read a Zanga post from back in the ages, and you're just like, what was I saying? What font was I using? Like, what is this? You know those alternate characters, like you do letter like small letter U, then capital B. I don't know how to express it on a podcast,
Yeah,
but it's
right
like,
now. Right now, it's the
like-
meme that goes with it is SpongeBob with the beaky
Oh.
SpongeBob. It's
my-
like- and the way that I see that when I see beaky SpongeBob in those letters, it's So you know what I'm talking about?
and you did it well. I was like SpongeBob came in my visual. when you
Oh,
said that.
shit, right,
Like,
right.
wow, Patrick Star. I mean, SpongeBob was at Super Bowl, and
Yeah, yeah.
that was an interesting cameo.
I
Would I
didn't-
say a cameo? I don't know.
I saw the cameo. I didn't see the actual performance. I heard it was pretty shitty. But-
Yeah, it's putting it lightly.
Yeah, but you know we live in a very very opinionated world.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can go under one news outlet and see all these opinions, and then you go into a completely other news outlet talking about the same story,
Yeah.
but a completely opinion.
And
or
you know, it influenced you because like
Yeah,
you'll
for
go into
sure.
something like, oh, I loved it, it was amazing. Then you
Yeah.
see like it was terrible, crap, Rotten Tomatoes, terrible, and
Right.
it's like, oh, I don't like it anymore. And I'm like, I can't believe I got influenced
it was
by
actually a horrible movie.
by like 6 comments that said it was bad, and then the next one would be like, oh, it was amazing. I forgot to read that part.
Yeah,
And
dude,
that-
I've gotten caught in the Rotten Tomatoes thing where I'll see the percentage and I won't even watch the movie. Like, they got a 59%, not even
Yeah.
not even a fresh tomato.
And then you come across it on Netflix later, like, wait, this was good. I'm like, why did I let public opinion stir my thoughts? And I'm like, okay, I should stop letting that happen, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't go on Facebook as much as I used to. But, you know, Instagram is fair game because it's
Right.
just pictures and no one's going to post like dirty laundry stuff in there. Or, I don't know, depending on
Just
what
depending
you
on the-
would think as dirty laundry. But yeah, it's cleaner on Instagram. You know what's going. It's all pictures.
Besides the
video.
tits, the ass, and the abs,
Yay!
and the muscles.
What did I do that for? That's my reaction. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's telling you. Nevertheless, where were we at?
Yeah, opinionated world, you know, and it's just everything stems. It's just crazy how everything has just completely evolved and turned on its head. Everything we were taught when we were kids, it's like, now I'm questioning trans fat and sugars and shit. You know, it's like,
I'm like,
right,
wait, is trans fat good now or is it bad?
I think it's
Because
I think it's bad.
I'm trying
No, saturated fats are actually
because I'm trying
bad.
to keep track. Like chocolate is good again. Because
'cause
there
I-
are times where chocolate is bad, and then the next year it's good again. I'm just waiting for the right time to get back in.
right, to get back into
Yeah,
chocolate.
because there's
right?
always that like ebb and flow of like which is good or not.
Yeah, and also I'm seeing now kale isn't really good for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
no!
I guess not. You know, it's
Dang it.
better to eat fats and bacon and meat.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah,
bad?
I mean,
Okay.
you know, to
In
the
moderation.
keto diet, you know, the keto diet, and then why are you gonna eat leafy stuff now,
Mm.
right? And it's like, all right, I gotta really control the shit I'm putting into my brain
Dang.
because now it's really influencing the way I'm living my lifestyle.
I mean,
You know, this week I'm keto. This week I'm a vegetarian. This
next week it's
pesca-
cheat week.
Yeah, cheat week.
I can't wait for that.
Fucking
but-
fiesta week. Oh,
Yeah, man, like it's hard to keep track. You're right. It's just like I just wanna like eat what I want to eat when I feel like eating it. Is that okay?
yeah, yeah.
know.
You know, and I feel like growing up, I was heavily influenced by my close friends around me.
Absolutely.
Now kids don't even get influenced by their close friends around them. They're getting influenced by kids.
Person A from YouTube
Right.
unboxing
Right.
a Kinder Egg surprise.
Right.
I don't know, but that's
With
that
no,
now.
and like you said earlier, no tie, no relation.
Mhm.
And it's changing education. It's changing what kids
For the
wanna
better,
learn.
might I add.
I think so
Not
too.
so much like it's going downhill. It's just changing in a way that adapts to the way people learn now.
Right.
Yeah, so I just want to put that just in case
Yeah.
there's some yeah,
Yeah,
hesitation about my ideas. So
Right.
my ideas are raw, and some people may not like it, but it's just like I feel like there's a change in education, the way it's going, and
Uh-huh.
like I'm excited for it.
I think I'm excited for it too. I'm just very curious how the classroom's gonna evolve. You know,
Yeah, classroom. It's all digital. It's gonna be. It's already happening.
are you gonna allow all your kids to bring their phones in, put it on airplane mode, and then you go onto a classroom Wi-Fi to where it's a controlled setting where you can only
I
visit
see.
certain sites and stuff like that?
I mean, that's an extreme side of it.
Hmm.
There's others where it would just be hands-on, like I guess robotics is one example.
Yeah,
But you just find yourself immersed in what you like doing
yeah,
instead of you're doing math this time and then
Yeah.
science and
Uh-huh.
this, right? So it's more. I'm thinking more of what do you want to learn? What are you passionate about? And then we'll curtail an education tailored to that passion and growth. For
right,
example,
right.
And
But still, the maths and the sciences and maybe the social studies, those things are still important.
Mhm.
Basis, right?
and they're not going away.
They won't. Yeah.
It's not like never mind this math thing because you don't like it. It's
Right.
just more like
Because you want to be a unboxer, right?
I want to be YouTube sensation. It's funny now. I think if you ask little ones today what they want to be when they grow up, it's not astronaut or firefighter or doctor. Some of them will actually say, "I want to be on YouTube or what is that? Musically or
Right.
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, stuff like that. I want to be a sensation in those platforms." Like, wow, I
Yeah.
did not even because to be honest, YouTube, I didn't know how far it would get in terms of reach. Like my parents use it regularly today, and I didn't know how they would get around because you have to search for things.
Right.
Little did I know that the related videos would be enough
Uh huh.
to bring them the next content that they
Right.
want to watch. And that's sort of a testament to why you can't really predict what's going to go on, but you can kind of sense where it's going, like in terms of different topics. Education is just one part. There are other things like financials and stuff like that, like currency stuff.
Right.
So again, the premise is things that are changing. It's just it's not so much be scared. It's more like adapt because change is the only constant.
Yeah, it's very interesting that it's like this kind of thoughts coming from you because you took yourself out of the traditional business or the traditional pathway and led yourself down an uncharted path, right?
What is uncharted?
And
Not, but yeah.
yeah, but uncharted in your own sense, in your own
Mhm.
world, right? And in a time where being entrepreneurial wasn't so
Yeah.
wanted, you know?
Yeah, rock star life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even consider myself an entrepreneur, and that's kind of like gaspy to say because I just wanted to see like how the world works
Mhm.
and try to apply some of the things I learned to it. And entrepreneurship wasn't really it. It's more like I like branding and stuff. So I want to get into something that makes me like get involved with branding, right?
Mhm.
Or I like making mobile apps, so I want to get into stuff that make people see that I do mobile apps.
You don't see that as entrepreneurial? Or entrepreneurial?
I wouldn't self-label it. It's more like, I have Wi-Fi on Guam. It's not
Uh-huh.
really an entrepreneurial thing. It's more of like, I just had this on my notepad and I wanted to put it somewhere, so
Right.
I put it on my website and people enjoy it today. Or the Wi-Fi passwords that are available, which is not updated. Sorry about that because things have been crazy, but stuff like that is
You're
not
the one that started that website?
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So people do know about it.
I have
just-
a friend. He's like, I want to do a Wi-Fi website, and then he's like, fuck, there's already one.
No, I mean, don't let you stop because I haven't updated, and that's one of my weaknesses because some people have asked for it to turn into an app or something better than just a text-based website, and I
Yeah.
haven't been able to fulfill that.
I-
Someone could say, I want to make it better than Wi-Fi on Guam, and
Mhm.
go for it. You can even take the name. It's actually in the public domain. I just haven't really put it in the site, but you can actually use it in any way you want.
Hmm.
Some people have tweeted it as an image, and spread it out, and it's just more like for the community resource.
Right.
So that's not really entrepreneurial because it's not really generating revenue. People donate with the PayPal link,
Right.
but I don't see it as a business at all. So that's why I don't really see some of the projects I do as.
But
I don't know.
you're creating different revenue streams though for yourself.
For not all of them, but for some, yes. So some of them do become entrepreneurial pursuits, but it's not my goal and intent. It's just like, oh, I like this. I want to try this out. So I've been dabbling in different things, and some of them don't make money. Some of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them pay for my gas and food and necessities, and that's fun.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me like want to create more, I guess. It's just more like, what am I wanting to do at this moment? What excites me? And then sometimes it's just starting a nonprofit or something like that.
So you're like staying within baseline happiness. What keeps you happy on the baseline level? Yeah.
Yeah, so that question is more of like whatever excites me in the moment, I take on, right? It's not so. Sometimes it could be something as simple as reaching out to a friend for lunch, and that already gives me happiness in that moment. So living in the present moment, that's what I guess they call it.
Right.
But it's just step by step. Like, what do I feel is exciting at this moment? It's like a formula.
Yeah.
Like at any moment, you have a number of options available to you. Choose whichever one is the most exciting, and it will lead you down a good path. And it has, sometimes you'll get opportunities by going to Payless or something and just walking down the aisle and bumping into someone you haven't seen, and then they have an opportunity for you because you followed that kind of formula.
Yeah.
And it's worked. It's just, it's not this thing where how can I take this and make more money out of it? Like, money isn't really the thing I'm chasing.
I see.
It's more of
Right
like,
there. Yeah. For sure.
I think it's a long-winded way to get there, but I've learned enough that if you chase the money, it'll run away from you. So I would just try any kind of method to not think about the money, and it's just like hanging out with friends, doing projects that get me in the zone. Speaking on this podcast, listening to this podcast eventually.
Yeah.
So there's different techniques. It's just I found this one was a good rhythm. And so it's in that token that I don't really like label myself an entrepreneur. Like I run businesses, yeah.
Right.
But I'm not looking for opportunities to create money.
You're not trying to capitalize.
Yeah, and that's odd to say in this day.
Yeah,
and age.
it's very interesting to
Yeah.
hear.
Because it's like I feel the cash thing is limiting me in terms of like expressing myself. Like oh, I have to have this to go here. Why don't I just like try some other way, right? Like for example, I'm traveling, for example.
Right.
You can accumulate a bunch of cash and then use it, but what's more fun is somehow you win something and you go on this extravagant trip. Like there are different ways of abundance, and cash isn't the only one I found.
Right.
And so I've been experimenting with different ways of getting around like the cash thing, right? So like to be honest, the cash thing is great and it's set. It's just you reach a point where it's like it's not really exciting anymore, and it's interesting because when you're in the other side, you're like.
When you first started this, though, was that the mindset?
No, not at all. When I started, I had $2,000 in the bank, and that's all I had. So it was sort of a desperation mode, and that's when I learned firsthand that desperation mode and making more cash doesn't work. Like you'll get into deals that aren't like suitable for you. You'll get shortchanged and stuff, and it's that depression or that desperation mindset that I had to get rid of. And so getting rid of that opened me up to things that I didn't know existed, like people walking up to me asking what you do, and just out of wanting to help someone that's when the opportunities come. Yeah. And so it's a pattern that I've noticed, and I'm like, if I just I really want to help people without any ulterior motive, it just seems to work out. Sometimes more so than I would think. Like, because the opposite direction was, I'm trying to chase the money, like, where can I make more money? And I'm going there, and I'm chasing after it. And it just seems to escape all the time, and it's consistent. So it's like, it wasn't working.
It seems like that's what maybe kept you on Guam?
Not so much that. I mean, maybe a little bit of that, but more because I wanted to contribute to the growth of the island. Like, not so much leave and then leave everyone to hightail,
Right.
I feel like I wanted to contribute somehow in some way. And I think maybe with ideas like this.
But being like a young person, right? We think that we have to get everything done right away, and and there's not enough time Is that kind of because me moving off island? I was off island for 5 years, and I felt like I learned enough in 5 years to come back and be like, all right, well, what did I learn out there that I can apply here?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's that same mindset, except I didn't actually. I mean, I did travel for 3 years thing, but more so like I listened to podcasts and videos, which already had that mindset embedded in them. Like people from those different states, talking in their conferences, and then all of a sudden I just get a sense of what it's about, their essence of the vibe, I guess.
Right.
Then I just held on to that and kind of tried to apply it here, and it seems to have worked out. Like, I mean, I'm still selling things like templates and stuff like that. I have a story where I would like domain name arbitrage. I don't know if you're aware of that. Back in the day, where you
like buy all the domain names.
Not buy all. I mean, yeah, that's the concept. Yeah, but I didn't. I just wanted to try it one time, and it worked out. So I bought a domain, ribbit.com, WRIBBIT.
Shit, dude, you're so close to Reddit, dude. Damn.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I was just thinking, I just wanted I wanted to turn it into an app or a mobile game.
Right.
And I did buy it. It was, $9.
Right.
Because that's how cheap domains are. But the idea is you are wanting to sell it for a higher price. And so I didn't want to set it off because I wanted to use it for an app, but I just wanted to see what would happen. And it actually sold for $3,000. And when that happened, I just
a domain name?
Yeah. So
that was weird.
Hi Siri.
Yeah, Siri. Shut the hell up. The hell?
Is Siri still
I'm not trying to set an alarm for 3 p.m.
Or Google.
It is Google. Don't say hey Google, because that one's gonna turn on.
Okay.
Yeah. I was so cautious about having a Google Home inside my house, just because I was like, damn, are they listening to my conversation? But I was like, fuck, I do a podcast. Like,
has it laughed on you? Is that Google Home or is it?
I think it's Alexa that laughs, right?
That laughs. I mean, I think they fixed that already, but when it first came out, that was one of those stories that kind of, it'll laugh out of nowhere if you kind of trigger it.
Turned on by itself.
In your window.
Yeah.
But yeah, so stuff like that. I don't know how I got to that idea, but yes. So I tried off ball stuff like that just to kind of see the consistency of, hey, if I'm desperate for money, how does it differ from when I'm just wanting to help people?
Right.
And the wanting to help people part seems to work out better.
Better than
just being like,
where's
the next paycheck gonna come because I'm trying to pay my cell phone bill, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a different feeling too, and I can tell why the other is better than the other, and it's been guiding me since. But it's not to the point where I don't want to do that millionaire thing or that billionaire thing. It's still there, but I feel like the mindset you need to have to be a billionaire is not something like I want to take on. Like you would have to really have a career in kind of like large scale things, and I'm a low key behind the scenes guy, and that's probably a testament to why you're not really aware of who I am or how white I am and stuff like that. So there's a reason, right? I want to stay low key, and that's always been my thing. And there's always been this wrestling of like, I do want to do presentations. Are we gonna go full circle?
Yeah. Tie it in.
But the idea is like, how do I kind of do the like presentations things without being too out there, right? And I think I found the mix or the junction point. I don't know, but also there's a desire with me maybe to kind of break away from being low key and behind the scenes and kind of start doing that. And that's probably when those upper echelon goals will start really kicking in.
Yeah, I mean, we do live in the age where if you're not putting yourself out there on social media, you're kind of like
you don't
holding yourself back. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Gary Vaynerchuk said this, but it
probably was.
Like, if you don't,
that's a Gary Vaynerchuk quote right there.
We're trying to bring you here,
there.
by the way. Oh shoot, that's what you're pointing at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, the thing is, like, I heard it mentioned and it just stuck to me. Like, if you're not online, you don't exist, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was harsh to. I don't know if it was worded like that, but it just stuck to me. Like, oh shoot, if you're not producing content, you're pretty much invisible.
Right.
So,
but also on the other side of that same token is, when you're visible, you shouldn't worry about how many people like you.
Yeah.
Or follow you. And it's a really tough.
That's a weakness for me.
It's a weakness for me too. It's like, oh God, how come I keep losing followers?
yeah. Oh man, should we go there? It's like, hey, sometimes there were times where I would be very conscious of how many people like a post just because, oh shoot, I didn't post it at the right time.
Yeah.
or like, goodness, maybe the content isn't appealing and I delete it or something.
Yeah, man.
It's like, why am I letting that affect the way I put myself out there? And again, it's a test. It's going back to just maybe I want to be this low key behind the scenes guy, or am I really just being fearful of what else is in the unknown?
Right. And that's the struggle that I ran into when I first started this the podcast was, I say this podcast like I have others, like this podcast. Now, like when I first started the podcast is, it's the reception. I was too worried about it, of how people were taking it, especially because I was searching for that credibility. I wanted to be able to invite you over and without feeling weird about it being
it's interesting because I was
my dining room, you know what I mean? And
iconic that I mentioned.
Yeah, and like people, especially like females, right? It's like, whoa, this guy's just inviting me to his place to talk.
I can see how they would go down.
Yeah. It's like, welcome to my house.
Here's the
Take off your shoes.
Make yourself comfortable. Would you like
drink this?
Yeah, all going down here.
Yeah. It can go in the totally wrong direction.
But I don't know. The equipment will probably.
Yeah, and it helps that Matt's here.
Because it's like, oh, okay, this is definitely what it is. It's not.
Yeah.
What I.
Yeah. So it's and that's something I struggled with early on. And it wasn't until I started listening to Gary Vaynerchuk and kind of like taking heed of what he was saying about having a presence online and putting yourself out there. It's like, yeah, you're putting yourself out there, but so is everyone else. But so is everyone else having opinion on everyone putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
So why the fuck are you making it even matter? As long as what you're doing is making you happy, that's all that should matter.
Yeah.
And
I like that. I think I needed to hear that way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it takes
with a few more fucks and shits.
No,
right?
it's fun because like it's better to hear it sometimes from someone else, which you already know inside. But when you hear it from outside, it clicks better.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
Well, I think it's the affirmation, right?
Yeah. It's said a different way, and maybe your energy around it is different. And like, oh, I get it now, even though I've been telling myself that for years, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just takes that one conversation to be like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. One example I have, when I was back in college, people always used to forget my name, right? So I made it a point to remember people's names because I felt like it was important to me to remember someone's name, so that when I saw them and then I saw them again, when I addressed them by their name,
it makes such a difference.
It makes a huge difference in the way they talk to you, the way they interact with you that second time around.
Yeah.
And I found it was working. And then I started reading How to Influence Friends.
Is that Dale?
How to Make Friends and
Dale
Influence
Carnegie?
People. Yeah, Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things. It's like I believe it was FDR. FDR was the crippled one. FDR? Roosevelt? Or Teddy? Was it Teddy?
I can't even say because I'm gonna be.
Oh my God.
Google.
I believe.
Help me.
Yeah.
No, the thing is,
Matt, can you help us? But yeah, it was one of the presidents, and it said it was I think it was FDR, because he needed a special car to allow his wheelchair to go into the presidential vehicle.
Wow.
And the mechanic who did it was, the first time he met him, he was showing him all the specs and of the car, and he remembered his name. He sent him a letter, and it's just being personable, right? It changes the aspect of relationships and the way people see you the next time they see you.
Yeah, and
because people can forget a name within 10 seconds you meet.
Yeah, and that's me. Not point blank, because I remember faces.
Yeah.
And I think we all have no problem remembering faces, but when
Right.
it comes to the name, like even trying to pronounce it, because you're in my mind, is it pronounced correctly? I don't know. I don't want to say it. And you say Jason.
Jason.
I'm like, Jason? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just very nervous. Sorry. And so things like that happen. Awkwardness. That's something with.
You look Filipino. I was tying Filipino accent.
Yeah, you're trying to cover it up,
name.
but you just said Jason.
You just said Jason.
Ado Club. So yeah, so that's why like I need work on that, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because names, like what is the method to doing it? Like, do you just say their name what you said?
You say their name back to them when you speak to them.
Yeah, sometimes I do that, and I say Jason, and they're like, no, there's no, I don't know. So I need work on that for sure. It's just again being sociable. Another aspect of getting out of my comfort zone of being behind the scenes and low key. communicating with people, being interactive,
Right.
like stuff like that. I sometimes just throw myself into like different places just to be like, oh, what do I do again? Shake hands.
Dude, it's all about that self growth, man. That
self-discovery.
yeah, and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations is what allows you to grow.
Yeah. And the second time around, it doesn't feel as uncomfortable. Like, wow, that's all it took.
Yeah, yeah. Just
'Cause
took
like-
me being nervous. That was it.
It's like 2 years of overthinking.
Yeah.
So
I avoided that for this.
Yeah, and then you find out it wasn't that bad because
Yeah.
you were just really, really fearful. But it takes, I don't know, it's really someone maybe talking to you behind and then just saying, do it anyway. And then you just go for it. And then you're, of course, traumatized because it's terrible. And you try to recoup. And then doing the second time, it was okay.
Yeah.
It's just that first time that you're just really being thrusted into something. And you're like, oh, no, I'm not ready to ask her out.
I think me and AJ's been through that situation before. Dude, just go ask her to the dance.
And then,
And
like,
never mind, I'll take her to the dance. I'm
Wow.
pretty sure that's.
that
I'm
was
pretty sure. I'm pretty
that was
sure
a
that.
plot twist.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly
That's
what
like that-
happened. Yeah, it was go ask her to the dance. The words couldn't come out, and he ended up taking her to the dance. He goes,
Did
yeah,
you
right, I'll
still
take
go
her.
to the same dance?
No, we still went to the same day. We're still friends up to now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
see that.
was like 6th grade.
Oh, yeah. See, that was the time I couldn't even talk to others. You know.
Yeah, my confidence was just like, back
yeah.
then.
What was confidence? Well, how did that work?
yeah. I was just a dancer.
No.
Yeah, I was a dancer.
I mean,
Dancing funny, not even good. You
yeah,
know?
I'm just like the guy that like, hi.
A
Or you remember Emerson Messenger when
you're a wallflower?
yeah, MSN Messenger was the same back in the day where you would just say hi.
Yeah.
He's like, hi back.
Hi.
How are you doing? I'm okay. What are you up to? And, then
I know I just saw you, but
and that was flirting.
how's things?
And I was like, not bad. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then it just dot.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Mm.
conversations up. TTYL.
Yep.
BRB. BRB. And then never come back. Oh, MSN Messenger. Those
5
were the
minutes.
days. Where you would just wait.
Dude, we used to huddle around a computer talking to one girl on the computer.
Oh, no,
5
no.
of us.
What do I say next? What do I say next?
What do I say,
And
bro?
then you're like, grammar is different.
Yeah.
Like someone adds a period and it's not necessary. Like, wait. That makes the text even
Yeah.
more serious. Than it
Dude,
should
we've
be.
done party lines, calling girls on party lines and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, dude, we can go on and on about this.
How is that?
Yeah.
See,
Well,
like,
it's really like, hey, dude, don't say anything, kind of deal.
and then they start saying all these sound effects in the background.
What's that breathing in the background?
And it's not even like it's not even innocent breathing.
Holding
It's-
the mouthpiece of the phone. Or
This was-
even- or
this was
even
a bad
upside-
idea.
Yeah, upside down, like.
What is that? It doesn't help when they're starting to say things that are like, "Hey," in a record. Like, "Oh, this is not going well.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later."
Fuck, my mom's calling me. I'll hang up.
Nostalgia. See, so I guess it's good that we all went through that phase because sometimes when you're going through it, you don't even know if like, oh man, this is only happening to me. Like everyone else is going to prom, and I'm trying my best.
Right.
Kind of thing. So
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Some people went through this experience too, like ICQ days where you're invisible, but people know you're not because I don't know how that works. ICQ was
Fuck, I'm trying to
so
remember.
bad. Why am I
What
going
was-
back in time?
What was ICQ?
What it stood for?
Yeah, what was it?
It just really just I seek you.
No, was that?
Oh.
Oh, that's a. It
That's-
wasn't a.
It wasn't an acronym, I think. It was just a play. Oh, you know how WhatsApp is. What's up?
Yeah.
But I seek you.
Oh,
Was, I don't know.
For some
Wikipedia.
For some reason, I thought ICQ was some.
You
sort
thought him?
of like
Maybe
a
it did mean
messenger.
something. Maybe it's a backronym, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I just saw it was I seek you, and I was okay.
Yeah.
Pretty cute.
The thing that blows my mind is that this new generation won't be able. What's up? Oh, this new generation doesn't sort of have that reality, right?
Of MSN Messenger.
Of just that. And what are they going to be nostalgic about?
Oh, I know.
Club Penguin?
Like Baby Shark.
Yeah.
What are all the songs people are into today? You just extrapolate 10 years and think back like, Friday by Rebecca Black. Those that stuff. all the music that I
Call
think.
Me Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still gonna be fun. It's
Okay.
just it won't be Lassie and it won't be. What else was there?
Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had it better.
Well, yeah. I mean, we grew up. The thing about it is that we still grew up off of shit that was produced in the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like these kids are growing up. That was
Do
that
people
was
still
that was developed yesterday.
Yeah, I
or
mean,
last week.
because like there's so much content being put out every
Right.
minute on YouTube, right? You
Right.
don't need to think of "I Love Lucy" anymore. You can just think of a reenactment of or a reaction video to "I Love."
Yeah.
The reaction videos will be the thing that people look back to and think, "Oh, that's me reacting to Celine Dion's Titanic song," even though I didn't know what it was about or the context of the movie.
Right.
I liked the song and
Right.
I
I just
reacted to
I
it.
just saw something that said the guy that plays Shaggy
oh, I
and I was
it
like,
was gonna be in Mortal Kombat. Is that the one?
No, it was talking about something about Shaggy's personality. And it said
Oh.
the guy who plays Shaggy, and I was like, you mean Matthew Lillard? It's like, when did he deserve the guy who plays Shaggy? He's been in
Wow.
such other good stuff, and then sure enough, I went into the comments and like, Matthew Lillard doesn't deserve that.
like
He's been in SLC Punk, Scream, like.
those are the comments I love. Right, they're backing up someone that needs banging. I don't know. Like it goes both ways on
Yeah.
YouTube and
Just
you
just
know.
like Sandra Bullock in Bird Box.
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
That lady in Bird Box. What do you mean that lady? That's fucking Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh my goodness. You can tell the age
Yeah, weird times. Weird
Yeah.
times we live in.
because they were legends, and I mean they are still.
Still.
And
Oh.
damn, they're like, who is this?
Yeah.
I'm like what? Unless you're just being. You're
Just
trying to
wait
be
till
troll.
Nicolas Cage comes out with a banger Netflix movie. Yeah.
Wow, I
They'll be
mean,
like, that guy from the banger Netflix movie.
I'm like, and
Like,
our face
yeah.
palming.
You never
like,
watched
oh,
National
no.
Treasure or Face Off?
Like, no, what is that? What is that?
Yeah. You fucking know Nicolas Cage?
Like, and you're mad, but you can't do anything. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't know that.
And it's cool because we got to experience the internet and the web in its
And dial-up.
in its infancy.
Yeah.
You know, when things weren't so immediate, when we still had to go to the library and still had to
Oh
use
yeah,
the
the
Dewey Decimal
library.
System. Yeah.
Dewey Decimal.
Oh yeah, those
System.
things excuse.
The one where the terminal was like DOS and you have to type number 2 and you have to oh man, they were like the Matrix.
Right,
Like, I don't know. It's like, how do you decode this system? And then it was weird because the grown-ups were showing you how.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait, you guys didn't even really know how.
Like, I know, but I went to school for this. Libraries, you know, and it's all, you know, all part of the forage into understanding libraries. And I love libraries.
Yeah.
And I wish they don't go away because it's one of those things where you could really get stuff done.
I don't think they ever will.
They won't. It'll
They'll
evolve.
They'll evolve for
Yeah,
sure.
more like community hub.
For sure. I went to my sister's college library, and they still had books, but it was a lot of electronic stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like you can pull an old document. Well, she posted something on her story that was the original print of Pride and Prejudice.
Oh.
It was
I
a
like
it was a first edition Pride and Prejudice, but it didn't have Jane Austen's
Name?
name on it
Whoa.
because women didn't have rights.
Oh, shoot. So it was just,
So it was
Anonymous.
authorless. Yeah.
wow.
And then you can take that and get a digital copy of that same book,
Oh.
you know, or letters from George Washington and shit like that. You know, it's like
From her college.
yeah, from a college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you do that in UOG? Because there are stuff you
I
can.
think the Mark. Yeah, the Mark.
Oh, I love Mark.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think the Mark you have that
The
capability.
Micronesian
of
Area
going-
Research Center.
Yeah, you can go into the archives of
Yeah.
I'm actually working on another podcast with somebody, and they did extensive resuch at the Mark.
Oh,
And they were pulling the Guam Daily News or something like that. The Guam
Oh, from
News
back in the day.
from back in the day.
That's such a contrast to what I pull out. I pull out stuff on like non-Madol and weird stuff like that. I'm like, why are you even here? I don't know. I have fascination for other things like electromagnetism and all that
Okay.
stuff. So it's weird.
Yeah,
but
Namadol
Mark
is the one in Pohnpei.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
weird. It's made of basalt and it's electro.
It's like
condu-
it's a city,
it's a
yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
an
mean,
ancient city, like old city.
It's not so much a city.
Or
It was
town or village.
built for something, and you know people don't know why, and I wanted to find out because like basalt doesn't just get put together.
Yeah.
It's actually a conducer of like electricity. So I was like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So that's what I would go to Mark for, and it's different.
Yeah, you ever heard of the vortexes in
Oh, the ley lines and stuff.
no, well, it's not here. It's in Sedona,
Oh yeah,
Arizona,
I've heard of stuff like
like
that.
energy coming out of the ground.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
shit.
yeah. And to be honest, like I'm gonna extrapolate that might be a good source of renewable energy down the line. I don't know. Like I feel I don't know. We're going to renewable energy.
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Where
yeah,
are
yeah.
we going?
Let's do it.
Renewable energy, like right now, I feel we're still at the Friendster phase. If we're just gonna do the whole nostalgia thing, we're gonna go with it.
Right.
The Friendster phase of renewable energy, where we think Friendster is or MySpace is the social network, or it's the thing we're gonna use to power us for the next eon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then Facebook comes along, and that becomes the one that actually powers us. And I think we're not there yet on the Facebook scale. And I think electromagnetism, stuff like that hasn't really been touched on yet, might be the way we look at things in terms of
why
power.
use energy when there's energy being
There's already here, and
constantly being
it's already
created.
like it's just a matter
Or
of how to
not
tap
created.
into it.
right
Yeah.
because energy is neither created
Yeah,
nor
yeah.
destroyed.
So I like
it's
to use the word
harnessed.
harness is a much more
Yeah.
intelligible word than tap, because tap has a lot of innuendos built into it. So so there are things you can like reach out to, and that's why I was fascinated with non-basalt, just to see what's going on there, because I know basalt just is already a really good conductor of electricity.
So how would they harness energy out of
It
salt?
that
Just sending an electrical field through.
It involves that. I mean, I'm still doing research on my own. That's some of the other projects. See, those projects don't make money. It's just I love trying to find out what's going on here. You know, how does this work out for the benefit of others, right? So I mean, Nikola Tesla had that same concept with energy and stuff.
Right.
So and he tapped into stuff that was relating to basalt. I'm like trying to piece things together. Like what's the common denominator here? Why are they all?
And what got lost in the history
Yeah,
of using this energy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I look at pyramids today, like, it ain't burial sites at all.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why do they look like that? And why are there like obelisks in different places that have the same structure but sort of are kind of course it's weathered out.
Yeah.
But I felt there was a sense of
There was a functionality to them.
yeah, like I'm gonna go out on a limb and say maybe like wireless electricity was generated from there. Who knows? And again, basalt is present.
Right, because
that
even
area.
the tips of pyramids.
Yeah,
are,
they're not what they are. They were
like
actually metallic.
Metallic, right?
Yeah. So can you imagine if there's a connection between those things and how, like, ancient civilizations have? We're going to ancient civilizations. Ancient civilizations have done it in the past, and we're just learning from them because stuff has gotten lost, and maybe those things that were lost were stuff that were already would help us today. And
right.
That's
and it got too powerful that it just destroyed itself and kind of restarted, right?
Yeah, I mean, like Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, who won? Thomas Edison, because it just made more sense in that time period. But who knows? Like we're all like the pole is shifting. I don't know if you saw that news. Like,
no, I didn't.
North Pole to South. I don't know. Crazy things are happening these day and age. Again, exciting times to be alive. But like if all these things are happening today, like it's only a matter of time if like weird and like more obscure stuff is gonna start presenting itself. So I don't want to be the one that's like, oh shoot, really?
Yeah.
I want to be like,
didn't see that coming.
Yeah, like what? You know, like when you don't get updated with someone for a long time and you see them, they have like they went to college, they got married, they have 5 kids, and you didn't know all of that information. They just tell you because it's a reunion.
Yeah.
Like that's what Facebook and Instagram's for, to like kind of smooth out that update.
Right.
Like,
right.
oh, okay.
The small talk of where you been.
Yeah, you don't get jarred with like, holy, you're so. I haven't heard from you in 5 years.
Holy
and now
shit, you gained a lot of weight, man.
Well, well, that's left to just seeing as a visual. Yeah, we went through a lot of heavy stuff. Now we're gonna just really bring it back to the surface, because I think this went all over the place.
Yeah, I mean,
presentations.
yeah. Presentation. I'm very amused by your mindset and the way you think.
I love it. Yeah.
You know, I mean, just you're not, because I'm thinking you're entrepreneurial and you don't consider yourself entrepreneurial, and yeah, sure, it makes sense of why you shouldn't why you don't consider yourself as such. But
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of the token, I mean,
It pretty much
you're,
is.
you're not doing the 9 to 5. You know,
Yeah.
you're not having to go home, or go to work, sleep,
Yeah.
split your day. Me, I split my day up in between passion and
And
support.
yeah, I recommend that path actually,
Yeah.
because there are times where the path that I took was like, what's happened? And you're scared for your life sometimes.
Yeah, and
'Cause-
I think so I was listening to a podcast, and there's this lady, she was a comedian. She had an office job, but she also did comedy at night.
Oh.
And she goes, "Gone are the days of the starving artist.
Yes.
You don't need to be a starving artist. It's just it's not an accolade, it's not something to be prideful on. Like
Yeah.
like why are you
would
going to
you-
put yourself through it when there's options?
Mhm.
You can go get an education. You can have that financial backing.
Mhm.
It's really up to you what you want to choose. You know, you want to put yourself through that sort of path of whether you're going to chase money or seeking pure happiness,
Right.
or you're going to be okay with getting the paycheck every 2 weeks, and then whatever you do after
Yeah.
after that job, then that's up to you.
Yeah.
you
And
know.
mind you, like all of these paths are valid. I'm not saying one path.
Very
is-
much so. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And I want people to understand that any path is valid. It doesn't have to be like, if you like the
Especially
two-
today.
Yeah.
Maybe not 10, 15,
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 10.
I mean, I
Maybe
imagine it
like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Yeah.
probably wasn't. But like, I just want to reiterate that yes, any path you choose, as long as it's exciting to you, is the valid path. It doesn't matter if it's just like I could just be excited about sleeping in, and that's okay.
Right.
And then the next day you'll be like, I'm excited to like have breakfast, from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it spans the gamut.
But there are people who enjoy going and sitting at their desk.
yeah,
You know, that's the best time of their day because
Yeah.
maybe they don't want to be with their family.
Mhm.
I don't know.
yeah.
It can be fucking anything.
I mean, I tried
It's like,
that.
I'd rather just not. I'd just rather be at work than at home.
Cause I'll tell you, I've tried that thing. That visual people have that of like you made it in life. You're in the beach and you're sitting down, you're sipping your cola,
Yeah.
something like that. I've tried that, and it like mosquitoes are biting you, and it's not what you see in the picture, because like all you see is a still frame, but then mosquitoes are biting me, and it's like itchy and it's hot, and I just turn red when sun is on my face, and it's just not pleasant after a week. It's
Yeah.
like this is not what I was picturing as like the postcard, like I made it,
Right.
So at
Success.
the end, success is this.
Yeah.
Like mosquitoes are having a feast.
Yeah.
Fiesta
Now I
right
got malaria. Fuck.
like dang it. It's a false advertising. So I mean it's accurate like one frame, right? But after that they're like, okay, we can go home now. And then the person that was being taking photos is like, also
Right.
you don't see the behind the scenes of what happened. to
They
get
got
there.
sand all over the front of their
Yeah, I
shirt
was
to
like-
get that perfect angle shot.
Yeah, have you
of you.
seen those like Instagram like they'll see the people actually taking the pictures and they're
Right.
having a hard time,
Right. It's like the boyfriend on the floor,
Yeah, there you go.
like laying down on the ground.
and they're like really like at an angle where it's uncomfortable, but the picture is great.
fucking great.
I don't know what Instagram I'm following to see that. I think it's blogger Joe was or something like that. But like I see that and I'm like, wow, the effort it takes to present that picture that people see and they like because it's the same aesthetic every time takes that much effort from the boyfriend's part to
Yeah,
produce.
for sure.
Instagram boyfriend, I think that's what it's called. Right?
Instagram boyfriend.
Yeah, so shout outs to anyone who is doing that role because it's hard.
It's a job.
It's a job in itself.
It's a job in itself. And if your Instagram model is getting paid, you should get paid too.
Yeah, Patreon. I don't know if that plugs in well because
Yeah, I use Patreon, but
Yeah.
honestly, it's tough.
Hmm?
It's tough. I feel like maybe I can do more, a lot more, a shitload more.
Well,
it's
you do
just-
have, I think, like sponsors.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's another side of it too,
Mhm.
with like managing, like I said earlier, tying in earlier with what John Bermuda said was, like I asked him, how do you manage business and creativity,
Oh, that's a good
right?
to say.
And that's something I'm struggling with, with the podcast and not being backed by a major media or corporation or anything like that. Like I have to go out there and look for sponsorships. I have to go out there and be the business, but also be the face, but also be the creativity behind the conversation,
multiple
but also
hats.
look at seek out who to talk to next, right?
Right.
So that sort of industry of podcasting, to where I'm sure people like Joe Rogan he has an agent that freaking brings, he's like, you interested in this guy? And he'll help facilitate that sort of conversation, unless it's a real close friend to call in, right? But other than that, here you're kind of just doing it on your own. And I feel like that's not only for podcasting, that's
for
any art or any creative outlet, whether it be painting or music. You know, music is another big thing that's been evolving largely in the last 3-4 years. Yeah. And I feel like I talk about it every episode, you know, with
music on Guam is doing really well.
Yeah.
Some are going on tour already.
Yeah. 4-Piece goes on tour next week. Oniwan, he just dropped his EP like today. What's today? Today. He dropped it today. And I was listening to it before everyone came here, and it's dope. You know, it's like shit that you didn't even realize
could come out
of this place.
Yeah,
right?
and that's telling you, like, it can only go better from here. Yeah. And, you know, music is really the pioneer behind, like, other creatives starting. I mean, Gax also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all these
GIF
people,
too. You know,
GIF. Shout out to everyone there. It's just again, different silos happening, but we're all trying to bring Guam to a different
and you know, some outlets are much further along in the process of creativity. I mean, industry. Right. But it's still not like there. Right. And I talk about it with, and I always try to be careful, because I'm really good with the Munya brothers, you know, and I don't want to offend them in any way of saying that, you know, the film industry is it's almost like it doesn't exist, but they've put in so much work into it. Right. But we're not seeing the returns of even people who are shooting here from off island. People are coming and taking images of Guam and taking it somewhere else, and we never see a profit out of it. Right. You know, or we never see any kind of revenue generated. No, the industry just isn't about creating film, but it's everything that's coming here to create
as a result,
right?
And it's tough to, I mean, it's just again, there are a lot of things at play, and sometimes it just takes that person being at an event that someone else is at, that's an investor, and then just them talking. It all really just comes down to like relationships and conversation. Yeah. Sometimes it just takes you being at the right place at the right time. But to be at the right place at the right time, you sort of have to be already doing what you like doing. Yeah. Kind of thing. It's kind of funny.
And on Guam, it's like you have to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Because there's shit going on all the time. It's like, all right, do I want to go to this? I want to go to this.
Yeah. Even this month alone, there's so many events going on. Yeah. It's just, you got to pick and choose. But sometimes it's like all of them.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen in any one of these.
Right. And it's creating opportunity for yourself. Yeah. And I feel like that's where Guam is too, right? It's like we're in the place where we have to create our opportunity is created. It's not here already. That's why you don't see people in a rush to fucking come back from college and work here, because who was I talking
to? The atmosphere.
I was talking to someone, I think it was Ben, about was it Ben? Yeah, it doesn't matter who I was talking to about it.
I'm also trying to search. I'm like, there are only a few that come to mind.
Okay, where was I headed with this? Okay, so maybe the reason why people don't want to come back is because business and industry hasn't been able to evolve here, technologically, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're getting these people who are IT guys or computer science dudes or engineers or doctors or lawyers, but those all need opportunity.
Cart before the horse.
Right.
Is that the right kind of metaphor for that. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
right?
Uh,
It's hard to it's harder to create opportunity. I feel like it's such a bad way for me to say this.
I don't even
Think
need to
about
say it. I get it. It's there are investors that just aren't in the right places for, like, for example, GACs. Like, you won't have an investor proper come to these events. Like, you'll meet them at their business, right? Like, I've learned, someone told me, like, investors don't go to mixers, or like the ones that really want to help,
Right.
because they're busy, in their businesses. But if you get introduced to them one-on-one and you tell them what you're up to, like, they want to help. Like,
Right.
for them, sometimes it's they want to kind of give money because, like, they already feel abundant in themselves.
Right.
And those people are harder to find than you think, because, like I said, they don't go to mixers, but they are here.
Yeah.
It's just the only time you get introduced to them is like very rarely. Like, let's say you're working with a realtor and then they happen to know a friend who is that investor sometimes.
Right.
So
Right. And that's how I was able to garner sponsorships for this podcast. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, it's I'm doing something a little different. Would you be interested in doing? And like you said, you find the right people who are, more than willing to.
Yeah.
To
they are there. And again, maybe mindset is at play here when you just think, oh, there's no one out here
right.
to invest. And then somehow you change your mindset, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, they are here all along. It's just, I just didn't have the right frame of mind. And now that I do, like, now it's just a matter of continuing down that path. So tough to say that, like, the cart before the horse issues here, but maybe there are ways.
I think that's the right.
help.
That's a good metaphor, analogy.
Yeah.
An analogy to use of what I was trying to explain. As far as like, it's not here. People are getting more educated, but maybe the industry isn't allowing people to come back for it.
Yeah.
So people literally have to come here and create it for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, what would you think of this idea where we would have, like, maybe the Guam Museum Indoor Theater filled with people who just want to help, and then on stage would be someone pitching, like, oh, we want to make a film on Guam, and then, maybe put it into a film festival in stateside.
Right.
And then someone sees that, like, pitch and like, we want to help you with that idea. And so instead of maybe giving funds to, like, charities, yes, a lot of people give to charities, but sometimes, hey, what if we give to your cause? Like, maybe someone want to tour Asia and that's their dream, and all of a sudden, like, you're in a room full of investors, and all of a sudden they want to help you fulfill that dream just for the thrill of having you fulfill your dream. Because really at the end of the day, it's people pulling people up. Right. For example, examples in different companies, like, you'll have someone invest in a company to pull them up. Like, when Apple was down, as an example, Microsoft invested in them to bring them up. And now, Apple is, one of the most popular companies in the world. So it's always that pattern of someone helping someone out. And it's never sort of you doing it on your own. Somehow down the line, someone will help you. And it's that help that kind of propels you forward. And that pattern can apply to even, like, doing creative work. Like, you'll put your work out there, and all of a sudden someone will just see it because you have the right mindset, and then they'll reach out to you.
Right.
Like, I know artists here who, like, they have all their paintings in different buildings because some of them are aggressive, but at the same time, they know what they're worth, and then they put themselves out there in that way. And some I see
and
shift.
dude, I think that's a good point there. It's like, I think a lot of people who are creating stuff don't exactly know their worth, so they don't know exactly how to approach.
Yeah, like, they'll have self-doubt, like, I don't know if this is enough.
Yeah.
Like, I think,
or am I charging too much?
Yeah, so those questions linger, and it presents itself as, like, doubt. And then, of course, I guess you can say it gets put out there, and then, oh, you feel doubtful about yourself, so I won't present you with any opportunities. But if you shift it, it's like, I do pretty good work. I love what I do, kind of idea, and I just want to continue doing this. And if I can, I'll be grateful. Then that mindset, even you can already feel when I say these kind of words, that's the mindset you need to have to get these opportunities. Because otherwise, it's like a magnet trying to, like, oppose another one. It's pushing it away.
Yeah.
The only way to change that is kind of flip the magnet instead of forcing it together.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the.
Bro, you're an analogy king.
I don't know if that worked. Did that work?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
the
yeah.
you know, a magnet, right? If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
try
yeah.
to push it together, it's gonna you can force it and it's gonna stay together. But the moment you let go, it's gonna
Right.
like repel each other. But if you flip the magnet, it'll freaking like get together anyway. And so it's that mindset that I try to put up with personal development. Like instead of forcing it together, how do I change something that's going on to change that magnet
Yeah.
and then flip it? You know, so like the example with the money thing. Instead of forcing myself to money, what if I just said, "Hey, never mind the money. It's okay." Now it's coming this way, so it's interesting. So that pattern can apply to anything. So creative work, if you want to do your creative work and get it funded, just announce to yourself that I am worth it. You know, I just love what I do. I want to continue doing this, and this is all I want to do right now. I don't want to do this 9-to-5 job anymore. I just wish, and I can do this. And that feeling already coming up is enough. That's all you need to get the opportunities to start coming. It
Yeah.
can come within 48 hours if you start doing something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
People used to ask me like, dude, how do you get people on your show? I was like, dude, I just call them.
Yeah, how did you get me on this show?
I
We
just message them, you know,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
called cold calling. It's just kind of like, and if they don't respond, they don't respond.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they didn't see it. Maybe they don't want it. You know, maybe they're nervous. You know, or
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
and that's kind of how everything. Because when
Yeah,
I
see,
first
so-
started, it was
yeah.
just all my friends and people who I knew and knew of, or
Mhm.
you know, kind of like a 2-3 degree separation of people that we know, and then all of a sudden, I just started really stepping out of the
Yeah, because you hit
comfort
critical
zone
mass. How many episodes again?
Right.
175.
Five.
See, so like at some point, maybe by episode 20, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah,
I kind
yeah.
of want to be a part of it. Versus episode 1, like, I don't really know what's going on. 2, 3, 4, 5, like, whoa, something's happening.
Yeah.
And by 20, it's like, oh crap, something's going on.
Yeah,
And
the way
then-
I described it to people is, it's like when you feel what you're doing is growing. It's like a new horizon. It's like they're coming over a ridge,
Mhm.
and then you go down in, and then you come back over a ridge. You're like, oh shit, this is new horizon,
Yeah.
new greener pastures.
Pendulum, yeah, swinging back and forth, right?
Right.
So there's always going to be the ebb or like down slope, but then it's always going to come up again.
Yeah,
It's just you can minimize the down effect though. So you can be like, oh, I'm going now, okay, relax, and go
Right.
back up, right? So it's like a cork on the like if you force it down, the only way to kind of relax is to let go and go back up.
yeah,
Another analogy.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Goodness
yeah.
gracious, sorry about that. So yes, presentations.
Yeah.
I love doing them, and you know, I want to use the presentation kind of thing that I do to kind of communicate maybe ideas that were presented in this podcast. Right?
Yeah, dude,
So-
I really think that you are extremely good at it,
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
think people can definitely benefit off of your style of presenting. I mean, 100 slides in 10 minutes, dude. That's amazing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I still have the slides online. I mean, I told them you can download the slide, right? So I think some of them did. I know that when I said Wi-Fi on Guam that day,
Yeah.
like I saw the traffic spike when I went home because
Yeah.
I think when everyone went on the site
Yeah.
when I said, "Oh, I'm the Wi-Fi on Guam guy," and then I showed the address, and it's like they all went at the same time because it shows in the analytics that there was a surge of people going onto the site around that time. It was 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like okay. So I was asking if
that
someone
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean 2:15.
Yeah, and dude, that's what's cool about today too. Is, you know, like collecting data. You know,
Yeah.
Ahmed always expresses me like, dude, data, bro, data.
Really, that drives his decisions, right?
It is,
Like
yeah.
some
I
of
mean,
the new
it-
products now.
yeah, I
the
mean,
deliveries.
Right, and it also should drive, you know, how you work creatively,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's music or podcasting or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
or,
I mean, I love
or
that.
YouTube videos.
Yes, YouTube is still around.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram. It's like now you can see when people who follow you are on the most. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. There's like a bar graph.
Oh,
of
okay.
when
Oh, I was
most
wondering
people are
how-
using like there's a peak of when people are using Instagram.
Oh, I
of
see.
of people who follow you.
Is it during
It's
nighttime?
like 3 p.m.
Oh, that's surprising.
Yeah,
Because I thought it would be.
I think
lunch.
it's noon, around noon, and then, well, for me it's like noon.
Yeah, because
4 p.m.
remember we went back to the whole like posting at the right time. I don't know if I said that here,
Yeah,
but like I would try to post my things at the right time, like lunchtime or evening, Monday at 10, because no one's doing anything. I didn't know if that was actually accurate. It
No,
just felt like people were home at Monday 10 because they just came from work.
it's an actual analytic you can, or
Yeah.
a data you can pull, dude. It's like whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I say the Wi-Fi in Guam is just basic, like, oh, this many people went to your site at this time.
Right.
But I just said, I was like, well, okay, that's more than I got in a while,
Yeah.
because that site has been up since 2012, and it's just it's being funded by me. Like I don't even.
Yeah, you're
see-
losing money off of it, right?
Yeah, see, there you go. Is that entrepreneur? Like, it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be you're trying to figure out how to make money out of it. Can't it? So it's not
Membership. You got to do a membership.
membership. I feel like it would.
Wi-Fi membership.
There was a chance where I wanted to make a Wi-Fi network, like the same way, like Docomo Pacific and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that you see, or Leia.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is an annoyance. Sometimes I don't know if they hear it, because when you're on the road and sometimes you get caught in their Wi-Fi network,
Yep.
and you're trying to stream a song, you're like wondering why it's not playing.
Stopped, yeah.
And you see the network, it's on the
It's on the Wi-Fi.
and I'm like, I'm not registered. I mean, I have a subscription. It's just I haven't taken the time to actually
Yeah.
invest into the service.
It's a hassle. You just have to like turn off your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I just forget,
Yeah.
because it's supposed to seamlessly switch,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
seamless.
It's
It
like,
does.
It's like governors. It governs my speed.
Oh,
Like, you're using too much speed. Slow you down.
oh, the
And-
text messages.
Yeah, slow
Oh,
you
those
down in
things.
Aganya and into Muning.
Throttling. It's like, remember when we didn't have to deal with that because it was all slow anyway? but,
Yep.
We're going back to nostalgia.
Oh
but
yes.
Yeah. Let's
How long we been going here?
yeah, I don't know.
2 hours and 10.
What?
Yeah, bro.
You
It goes by quick.
You
buddy.
just say what?
2 hours.
Couple
Oh,
hours.
unbelievable. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think I don't know the length of your show.
No, I mean it goes until we go. I feel like we touched on a lot of stuff.
Oh,
and,
I
you know,
I
and
feel sure. of it.
things people can benefit off of.
Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
pick and choose on
especially
which one you like.
like your mindset, dude. I love it, dude. You know,
Yeah, we were here to talk about presentation. Where did it go? All over.
yeah. Not on this show.
But I guess
I can't talk about presentations for 2 hours.
I was like,
Death by
I can't even
PowerPoint.
show it. I don't know how to kind of show it to the audience. I know you said you could pull it up there, but
Yeah.
it's still like zipped and everything. But you can if you want. But
Okay,
it's an honor.
you said you're gonna be doing online classes and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm putting together a course for it's called Slide Deck Mastery, for actually putting together slides that
Mm-hmm.
like present themselves better.
Right.
And so the only problem is just getting rid of smoke detector sounds and like buses that you don't know when you're recording, stuff like that. So
Right.
I may be looking for like a place with like foam everywhere, so it
Right.
can just isolate the sound. But
Hmm.
that's the challenge right now. But right now I'm just trying to actually get myself to record the content, so I see it before my eyes. Like it's actually forming. It's not the stuff that YouTube will be a fan of or anything like, or the commenters will be like, the audio's
Yeah.
suck.
Audio sucks.
Because I realize audio is important, but video doesn't really have to be as like top notch.
Yeah.
But
People
yeah.
are critical about video. Anything you want to put
No,
out
I
there?
mean, I'm
Promote?
gracious and honored to be here. I didn't really have the idea that you would kind of be interested in little old me, who's an unknown, right? So I think people would listen to this and be like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, well, I just didn't realize how much you've engaged yourself in. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's-
you're literally a behind the scenes guy, bro.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, and that was by design.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Inspire Guam, let's talk about that for
Sure.
a little bit before we head out of here. Inspire Guam by Victor Calvo and Victor's Marketing.
Amazing guy, yeah.
Extremely hardworking and just a hustler.
Oh, for sure. Like, did he tell you? I don't know if he told you, but the last conference he put, Inspire Guam, was like put together in 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't think they slept like the whole night before.
Yeah, Vic did not sleep, I think.
Yeah.
And that's unfathomable because you that's stress.
Yeah,
And it's all for the benefit of Guam.
and dude, I mean, people stayed all the way till the end.
Yeah.
And
And
all the way
because the
after.
keynote speaker, because it's
Right,
Vic's
right.
mentality, and he was right. Like people will stay to the end because the keynote speaker's at the end, and like, oh, it worked out.
Right.
You were all kind of doubting a little bit because usually the keynote speaker's in the beginning, and then he does his own thing later.
Right.
But it was kind of.
But even the keynote speaker after, he went up to his hotel room, changed, and
went back down.
we
to
went
the-
back down. We had drinks.
Yeah.
Everyone's hanging out. We were all talking and stuff, and it was a
and he
great
was accessible.
experience.
That guest speaker was just ready to talk.
Yeah. So this will drop. I'm gonna try and drop this tomorrow so people can listen to
Wow.
it.
Yeah, Inspire
And,
Guam. is-
yeah,
I guess if
so
it's dropping
it's
tomorrow, it's
gonna
next
be
week.
next
on
week,
Tuesday.
Tuesday on the
At the
12th.
Dusitani.
Oh, is it the 12th?
Yeah,
12th.
February 12th.
February 12th at the Dusitani. think you can go to inspireguam.com.
Yeah, that's where you would get.
Vic, this is free promotion for you,
He loves it.
guy. Yeah.
Oh, support.
So, yeah, go buy tickets. I think they're available right now. And if you want to be in the same room as other driven, motivated people who just want to see this place grow and prosper
Love it.
in a different way than never seen before, this is the event to go to.
Wow, that's a really, really Vic. I hope you're happy. It's not scripted at all. It's from the heart. That's the way you know it's really from the get go. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was powerful. I think this next one's gonna be really good. So I'll see you guys there. If you're gonna be there, you gonna be there?
I'm gonna be there.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, guys. James,
Thank you
my
so
brother.
much.
Yes, let's do this again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You know,
I'd
just
love
talk,
it.
shoot
Yeah.
the shit.
Another 2 hours.
Yeah. We'll search the internet more.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Thanks for having me on. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And AJ walked in, and I got to talk to him a little bit about our pastimes.
I got to know you a little bit more.
Yeah,
From here.
yeah. AJ's been on the show before, so it's this is one of the moments where all right, bring my friends on, you know.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. And Maddie loves you. Don't forget to follow us on all our platforms. Where can people follow you at?
Oh, it's just at James Pasion.
Okay.
It's
It's Pasion or Passion? Because that's what we were trying to figure out.
Oh, so
Yeah?
it's pronounced passion, but it is just one S. It's easier to say,
So it's
actually.
Passion.
Passion. You gotta do the motion. Some people must not do that.
James
Passion.
Passion.
There you go. At James Passion. Thank you.
James, thank you.
It is-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
that's the at handle for everything. So I
Okay.
took the time to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah,
all
and
that.
what kind of services can you like provide to people that, you know?
Well, I do IT support mainly. So and also training, tech training. So if you like Microsoft Excel, you want to learn more about that, I can teach you through University of Guam. So
Okay.
that-
And then look out for the online course.
yeah, so there's other things going, and
Come on, bro, this is your chance to throw it all out there.
Oh, so slide deck metric is coming out. Flavor fries, the food truck is coming out soon. All that good stuff and stuff with electromagnetism. So it all spans the gamut. There's so many things. It's just I can't get to them all. But co-create also a co-working space.
Yes, and that's what your presentation was out.
Was
Something
on-
that we didn't even touch on
Oh
this
my
thing.
god! The next 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we to be continued.
To be
everything like that.
continued. Yeah.
Co-create next time.
I think places like Siesta and
Hive.
the Hive, really great places for people to just go and see. This is another. We're gonna stop.
To be continued.
To be continued. James, thank you, my brother,
Thank you
for
so much.
coming on the show. Maddie loves you. I love you. Thank you for listening to another episode of Master Random. Oh, don't forget to follow us on all the platforms. Instagram, Master_Random. Twitter, Master Random _GU. Master Random on Facebook. I gotta make it all the same like you. So I could just be like, oh, just one handle for everything.
Just one label.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for listening. Such a fun episode. Thank you, my brother. And till next time, peace out.
When do I stop?